A kind day to you all. I'm Kinsmark.
I'm Violeta.
Checking in with Fallout 4 for the first time in several months, actually. Because I'll confess straight away, I am feeling a little ill. Because my system is disagreeing with me about some things. So I'm a little chill, calm, and less enthusiastic about life at the moment than usual. So I actually hadn't played this for most of the months since the last stream of this till just a few days ago. I checked in on it again. I updated a lot of my mods. I changed a few out because some of them are redundant now because they got lumped in with compilation mod sorts of things. So I spent some time cleaning up my load order. I added a few things. I took a few things out. And so at this point, I think the game is at a playable state for my mod setup again. So since I haven't got the energy to jump into the stream series story and all that, then pardon me, I'll probably just check and scavenge around for some things for maybe one of hers, maybe show off some of the new armament and such that I've installed on mine, and just have a relaxed evening of Fallout for a while. So anyway, let me see, is anything free in Creation Club right now? Because
Maybe?
I think it was about a week ago, one of the skins was free as a promo.
Doesn't look like it.
Since I know people are going to ask me about my opinion for Creation Club, I think it was clunkily implemented, and that it's overpriced. Aside from that, though, I mean, I can't complain. It's just not something I'm really going to use.
Yep.
So, let's see here. I am surprised, though. Speaking of... Alright, I just heard a subscription drums. So,
Yeah,
cool. Thank you to whomever that was. Thank you very much.
Shield says hiya. Nomad Noah says howdy folks, how it goes?
It goes alright. I'm just feeling a little so chill evening in store for you all. Anyway, speaking of Creation Club, I'm surprised they decided, since they said that a lot of stuff that's going through it is going to get...
it was Shield's resubscribe.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Because her first message didn't have it, and the second message after the drums
okay.
does have it.
So she
So
re-upped.
that was her re-up.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they, since pretty much everything coming through Creation Club goes through their internal studio approval process and all that, that they decided to do crossover content.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, like adding in like the Doom armor and guns and stuff. Like they're cool. It's just like putting it in game, even as a small DLC, which is what Creation Club is. I'm attempting to shy away from referring to them as mods, because as official as they are, they're
DLC.
Yeah, they are, except they aren't. They're just tiny DLCs.
They're micro DLCs.
Yeah, I
DLCs.
think micro DLC is a good way to put it, even though the price tag isn't so micro.
Yeah. By the way, Shield has subscribed for 3 months in a row.
Hey, congratulations for your 3-month anniversary around here. Very much appreciated. We had a few of those last week as well.
Yeah. Shield wants to know if you got her Steam message.
I did. And I copied that into a Word document so that I can try to condense that down into the soldier description in game.
That is an adorable pit girl.
What? Where?
Boat girl. Whatever. On the visible companion.
Oh yeah, over there.
That is an adorable.
Yeah, I've seen that a few places.
It's adorable.
Somebody's fan art.
I love it. Okay, let's see. Noah says, coolio, I'm in the mood for a chill evening as well, so it's all cool by me.
Sounds good, my man. So somebody's making Legion armor. Cool. That's not done yet. Alrighty. Anyway, I just wanted to check and see if anything that I cared about needed updates.
Yeah.
So, character preference?
Well, I mean, I'm always happy to do Kate, but it is up to you.
Well, here, first I'll load into mine, and I'll just show off some of the new stuff I've got for some folks that...
Shield says that was the 5th version of it. The one she sent you.
I see, got some revisions going in. Because I know some people like to stay appraised of the mods that I prefer to use and stuff, so I'll show off some of those real quick, and then we'll load into one of yours.
Yeah. I'm still really sad about my early sections of my Starlight City.
What do you mean?
The stuff that I built before we have all the mods that before the
you just
Wasteland
abandoned
workshop and
now.
stuff. Well, like there are parts of it that I can't undo because they connect to everything else.
Right.
But if I had the pieces I have now, I would have done it differently and it would have been better.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah, that's why.
I'm like, such sad.
Yeah, for me, Sanctuary is the least ambitious or impressive of the settlements I've put work into, and like I put a fair amount of work into it. I still remember that sense of pride.
So happy with your.
I made my 111 rads, and I thought that was just this awesome creation. And then fast forward a few months and look at what I did with like Hangman's Alley, and it just eclipses it.
Yeah, I'm still very proud of having that idea for Hangman's Alley.
Yeah, of
and then testing it,
constructing upward.
Yeah, to see if you could actually do stuff like that. And I was very happy to find that we could.
Yeah. So, since I'm a fan of pretty much anything mod-wise that adds in canon material from previous games that just didn't make it into this one.
Show it.
Yeah, yes. I got the new N99. Well, new-ish, because this came out a little while ago at this point. So yeah, anyone that played Fallout 3 or New Vegas will recognize this as the... Oh, hey, it's actually got engravings on it. Model of the U.S. Army. Cool.
So it's the U.S. Army version.
Yeah. This was the standard 10mm from those games. And I like the fact that here, like, in the menu, this specifies it as an N99 10mm, because the default game 10mm pistol is just called that. So it implies that, okay, just like in real life, Colt has made more than one gun, and some of them have slight variations, so this is just one of many models of 10mm sidearm in the Fallout universe. So I'm like, alright, cool, I can live with that.
It makes me happy.
I also got the new R91 that some of you may recall. I had someone else's version of, which I've kept, and I've just put up on my corkboard here. Because that one, I like. It just doesn't have as many options as this one does. This one, like, I'm weirdly conflicted on it, if I'm completely honest, because the model quality is much crisper. At the same time, though, it's actually a less perfect recreation of the Fallout 3, and I don't think it actually appeared in New Vegas, although mods restored it, the standard assault rifle from that game, which most people have sort of fanon accepted as the R91, that's described in multiple places, however, we're never shown what it looks like.
Right.
So, pretty much a lot of folks in the Fallout's, like, scholarly section of the fan community have accepted that the R91 is either the wooden furniture G3 set me thing that this is meant to represent, or it's the proto M16 with the wooden furniture that is labeled as the service rifle in Fallout New Vegas. Most people accept that that one is actually a new fabrication. It's something that the NCR are actually creating in present time using patterns and prints and stuff from Old World. However, they're manufacturing them new.
They're manufacturing it the same way they have like rails up and
right, exactly. So that's why most people make a distinction of that is something else, whereas this pattern is the R91 pattern.
Gotcha.
So as far as like customizations and stuff go, this one just has a lot more going for it. So I mean, due to that, like I'm starting to use it. I'm not 100% sure if I prefer it, and it is a little more powerful in game. So it's
more
just
powerful than you might necessarily want.
A little, yeah. However, the other one was a little weaker than I wanted.
Okay, so there's not quite a middle.
Yeah, exactly. The other problem that I have with this one that's, like, getting me to think that maybe I'll revert to the old one is that I, especially for an AR like this, I prefer to use irons at close range, because I just, especially for Fallout, for some reason using, like, reflex sights rarely feels right unless it's on, like, laser weapons where more advanced stuff just comes with the territory. And yeah, I know, that sight picture, it's so cramped for this one.
I don't like
Whereas if you pull this one off, just
I don't think I'd actually like it.
Well, it's using the HK
Like, in real life, I don't think I'd like that sight pattern.
Yeah. I know I don't. The one time I got to shoot an MP5, I didn't actually think it was that great a sight pattern. This one is a little...
Oh, that one's much better.
The front ring sits higher, and the rear post, like, it's carved a little deeper, so you've got a more open sight picture for it, so...
Yeah, I think that one, the sight picture is much better.
The other issue with this one, though, as I just shown, is this is still using the old... the old sounds and also the old reload animation. Whereas this one actually comes with custom animations. And the rate of fire is a little higher.
That's a much crisper sound.
It is, and if you watch the animation, the slide catch is in the right place for an HK model, and yeah, you actually rack it in the right place. So there's give and take in each one.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
if there was a mix of the two, that would be like the best.
If I could put this rifle's animations and sounds onto where did you go? The other one's model, that's what I would do.
That would make you happiest.
Yeah, because the other thing that I'm weirdly torn about this one is that it looks too good.
Yeah. It's
actually higher poly
than
like if I put this up on the weapon rack.
Oh.
It's from a different game, essentially.
It looks like it.
Like, it does not look like the rest of the game. Whereas, yeah, thanks. If I put my other one up...
I can see what you mean.
Where'd you go? There you are. That looks like that, you know? It's the same level of quality, and that ability to just look like it was always there is something I really value.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That's rough.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
So, I think I need to... Oh, I know that refavorited itself automatically. Okay, cool. So anyway, I've also thrown on a few additional weapon mods. Those I can just show on the other one, though, since I'm sure we'll do some exploring.
Yep.
Was there anything else I wanted to show? Oh, yeah. Because I don't think you actually saw when I was testing it earlier. They finally came out with a standalone version... I say they, because I don't remember the name. Sorry. Of the...
Jetpack?
No, of the they call it the ground pounder pack that you can kind of see it's a little washed out in the glowiness there. It just adds like pouches and stuff all over the power armor frame, and
carry weight.
Yeah, increases carry weight substantially. So
that's my happy.
Yeah. So especially if you're playing a very like power armor centric sort of character,
you can still essentially get all your
you
goodies.
Can use it and not run into the problem that I do, especially if you have pardon me, system.
Quick question. I'm still confused as to why that rifle was not in Fallout 4's pirate.
So am I, honestly.
And then Shield says it looks brand new instead of it being worn down.
Yeah, that's part of the issue for me.
Yeah. All right, now we can go back to the power armor. It's just my my system caught up.
Yeah.
To
I'll touch on the power armor, and then I'll also touch again on the not appearing in this game thing. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So like I use obviously Armorsmith Extended, which means you can use a lot more things layered at one time.
So it makes it hard to justify.
Yeah, it means that statistically, I'm usually looking at a downgrade for everything except damage reduction if I jump into a suit of power armor.
Yeah.
That and rad protection. So the ability to throw more carry weight onto the power armor would, for a mod setup like mine, not necessarily for everyone's, it would mean that power armor is now like viable as an exploration suit again, which is important to me. So anyway, touching on the why didn't the R91 appear in this game, I wish I had an answer for you. That's an answer I would love to demand of Bethesda themselves. Because I'm going to switch to the other character now that I've kind of shown that stuff off. It's strange if you look at the old concept art pages from, I forget the exact title of it, the official, art compilation that came with like the special edition and stuff.
Let's see. Pyro says, I disagree with a lot of the things that they did with Fallout 4. Especially a lot of the redesigned things, like weapons and such.
Yeah, redesigns and particularly omissions,
Yeah, and Lay Nocturne is here and says, well, hello there. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
But yeah, I feel like
Changing up the 10 mil. I didn't like that. I liked that you
No.
could sort of recreate the classic 10 mil with the heavy frame for it. It still wasn't the same though.
yeah.
And then
There were some of the iconic things that I felt like they should have just left.
yeah,
And just added more
and
in addition to, like, if they had certain guns that they wanted to be kind of iconic for this game, then put those in, but also put the traditional ones in as well.
The art compilation, I forget exactly where I read this. I think it was actually Todd Howard himself commented on the fact that the what's referred to in this game as the assault rifle, even though it's very much a heavy machine gun, it was the first weapon they designed for Fallout 4, because they already knew they wanted a more power armor centric approach, and they wanted a gun that would look hefty and cool in a power armored character's hands. I'm like, then it's not an assault rifle. If it's meant for someone in power armor, they're not going to lug around an infantryman's assault rifle. They're going to lug around an HMG. And it's what it is. And then for some reason, it just fell into the mechanical slot in the design documents of an assault rifle. I'm like, no, it's a water-cooled MG. What are you doing?
Yep.
And it's also chambered in 5.56 for some reason, which is a tiny round for an MG.
Yeah. Let's see. Pyro says, I mean, the classic Fallout sniper rifle is gone. 10 mil is different. So is the minigun. Gauss rifles are completely different. And Lady Nocturne says, I'm liking the hair vibe. Thank you.
You're getting compliments on your hair left and right today.
I am. I'm quite pleased by this, actually. For, I'm sure, obvious reasons.
So where to go?
Pyro says, yeah, the assault rifle of 4 I would class the same as the LMG from New Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, it's, given that it's essentially a Maxim, it's like flirting with the edge of LMG and, like I said, starting to just run into MG territory. Like, it's a mounted gun.
Yep.
Oh god, I forgot about the streamy clicky issue. You know
click.
what? We're not that far from it. I'll just run.
We'll just run.
It's more of a hassle. Oh god, are the...
Also, I do like her armor.
Oh yeah, I'm super happy with the way that Kate's look has come together.
Yep.
She looks friggin' awesome.
Yep.
For anyone that hasn't caught one of these streams in a long time, because we've streamed even less of this character than of mine, yeah, this is Vi's main Fallout 4 character.
Yep.
She is a frickin' hoss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just like, that was one of the things that, given as a self-professed gun nut myself, I enjoyed about Fallout New Vegas. There was a tremendous variety of gear, whether it's armor, guns, even craftable healing stuff. There was a lot of cool crunch. This game doesn't have that.
I love gear customization and gear variety.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Pirate says, or that the 10 mil SMG is completely vanished as well.
The old Riley's SMG, and like I've got now mods that restore most of those.
Yeah. But that we needed a mod for it.
Exactly. The fact that I needed a mod to get that is what's disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, I realized that the way they built the weapon upgrade and stuff system means that I suppose technically you don't need as many just straight bases. But I wish they had put more in than they ended up.
Yeah. Like this one that I'm using right now is from God, I forget the specific name of it. It's from a mod that recreates the assault carbine and marksman carbine from New Vegas, and then just for funsies also adds in a few other combos or components. I was gonna say. My word just trailed off mid-sentence because I couldn't think of it. So that you can make even more variations, like perhaps trying to replicate from like Fallout, I think 1 and 2, the Colt Rangemaster that was like a semi-auto DMR sort of thing that never made it into any of the later games. You can kind of recreate that with this mod.
Yeah.
And I like that about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the
it looks like there's
I'm just gonna scrap some
somebody
of this excess.
around here still.
Yeah, there's probably somebody up on the roof.
Let's see. Pyro says, doesn't that same mod add the NCR service rifle?
Yeah, because it's got options for wooden furniture.
Coca-Cola. Her one vice. Her one true vice.
Uh-huh.
That's now canon, by the way. Kate is
like,
just a caffeine addict.
The version... Where'd it go? Here we go.
Where is it?
The version that I'm making, or rather that I've made and am using, I essentially turned into a squad DMR, so that it's semi-auto. It's meant for precise shots on a target instead of just spray and pray.
I love the lit cigarette.
Yeah, I know.
Like that those are in the game. For some reason, little things like that make me happy.
Yeah.
And like they're completely useless. Like
yeah, they don't do anything.
It's no different than just a normal cigarette. But at the same time, it's so cool. Like it makes it feel more alive, I think. And that's the same reason why I like just gear options in general and customizations in general, is simply because I feel like it makes things...
It makes the world feel more lived in.
It makes it feel more correct in, like, comparison to the real world. You know what I mean?
See, this thing, for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is the upgraded version of the default game's assault rifle. It's called machine gun here now, for anyone that's looking like, Ken, what are you talking about? Because I have a mod that changes it.
Yeah.
Because actually the mod that added in the more fitting to the game's aesthetic looking R91, part of that mod's ESP is what changes it. Because it is now, it's the assault rifle with the generic name, and it changes this to have the machine gun generic. Which is what I think it should have.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Pyro says, love me a service rifle. Such a simple looking weapon doesn't need to be overly complicated.
I'm just sad that its stats always sucked.
Grendel says, how's it going? Been here for like 6 or 7 minutes, but I spilled pop all over my couch/bed.
Don't do that, sir.
I swear this thing must be like 40% Diet Pepsi.
All the aluminum.
Speaking of, my love. Yes, I would like my drink.
Don't spill it.
I'm not going to spill it.
So yeah, anyway, speaking of service rifle, here it is. Apparently I picked one up at some point. So yeah, this is from the same carbine mod.
Yeah.
I think I'll actually hang on to that and give that to a settler, because that's nice.
Pyro says the default assault rifle looks like it should have a bipod, so you can fire it laying down.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going from the real world weapon that it's inspired from, that's exactly what it was for.
Yeah.
It was actually on a tripod so that you could fire it from a hunkered position while standing or crouching. Like, it was a World War I HMG. And again, water-cooled! That's what that giant cylinder around the barrel is for. It's full of water, man! Water's heavy!
Yep.
So, as much as I love this game, and I do,
this
I have many misgivings about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of it that I don't like, but there's even more I do like, which is why it ends up more positive than negative, in my opinion. That's not to say there aren't negatives, because there definitely are. But, I mean, it lets me Fallout Sims. Like, how am I supposed to say no to Fallout Sims?
I think I've come through here recently.
I think you have. Yeah, I think we might need to go somewhere else.
Where else can I raid for gear?
Let's see. Shield says, whenever one of us spills our drink, someone in the family will tell us that we either need a sippy cup or a lid with a straw. Let's see. Grendel said, Shield goes, my family can be mean sometimes. Grendel says, I just used a mod to replace the assault rifle with a recreation of the American one from Fallout 3. Way prefer it. Pyro says, I end up pissing about more in Fallout 4 than anything else. I can't get into the story at all, sadly.
Honestly, same. I mean,
I can get into it, but only if I try.
Yeah,
like,
I have to
try and put myself in the position of the character.
I've got to get in the mood for it, and
it's much harder than I think it should be.
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm critiquing the story fully subjectively as far as what it did for me, and also objectively, from a more design standpoint. I think this game actually has one of the strongest first hours of the entire Fallout series.
No,
After that first 1 hour, though,
it drops off.
It drops off, and it never picks up again.
No.
Like, the intro of Fallout New Vegas did nothing for me. That game was the total opposite. It started nowhere, and then it started to climb as I was able to really do my own thing with it. This is it's the other end of that curve, you know?
Yeah. Let's see. Lady Nocturne says, that moment when your internet decides to just give up on life for 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
Feel. Did we go to the stockpile recently?
I don't think so.
Let's find out. This is one of my favorite places to raid.
I don't remember.
Also, anyone that uses the Commonwealth Scavers mod, or that wants to and hasn't because of a certain issue with it. 1 second.
Sir.
I'm trying to calm my system down.
Yeah.
Well, isn't this cheery weather?
Oh, that's lovely.
I had some insomnia the other day and decided, to deal with my frustrations regarding a certain aspect of that mod, which is the fact that it adds a lot of cool new armor and essentially like sub-factions to the raider groups of the Commonwealth. However, one of them, which you can usually run into here, the Raider Tech Fanatics, it's not a glitch because it was for some reason an intentional change the modder did. They changed one of the it's like a light power armor sort of frame. It's set to spawn as an underwear, which means that the people who would spawn with it would have just this this exo on with like nothing underneath it. So like some dude in exo stuff on his extremities is charging at you in his undies, and I'm like, can we fix this? And I even messaged the mod author a year ago and asked them, hey, is this something that's going to get corrected? And they're like, yeah, it's coming in the next version. I'm like, okay. So I waited. Well, that was 13 months ago. So I don't think that update is coming.
No,
so
not.
In my insomniac frustration, I decided I'm going to fix it myself. And I first attempted to take a crack at fixing it through the creation kit. My god, I have such a newfound respect for modders of this game. Why is shit exploding constantly?
I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned.
What? Dog, what did you just do? Because that was a limb that just flew across my screen. You know what? Don't answer that.
Don't answer that. It's all good. It's fine.
Anyway,
He
where was
learned,
yeah, I took a crack at the creation kit, and it is a mess. I have such a respect for people that actually get something done with it.
Grendel says, I too was proud when I learned Fallout 4 Edit. What a confusing and arcane program. Why
Yeah.
stupid? I don't know.
Now, FO4 Edit, as confusing as it is, way more approachable than the creation
Which
kit.
is very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad state of affairs. Let's see. I've got a lot to catch up on.
Okay. Well, long story short, I taught myself FO4 Edit, and I fixed the mod.
Grendel says, I've been really struggling with Fallout 4's main story in an unconventional way. I'm essentially doing a fanfic on the Nexus image share now, and I've deviated so much from it now that I'm struggling to put it back on the rails.
I see what you mean. It's kind of what I did in New Vegas, honestly.
Yeah, Shield says, to this day my oldest and I fight over when they didn't give enough, or why they didn't give us what path the courier takes that sees us ending up in the graveyard. Yeah. Let's see. Pyra says, the moment an RPG says to me, this is your wife and son, the son has been kidnapped, you must find them, that is 75 to 90% of the story / driving force, I kind of lose interest. Yeah. I don't like my RPGs telling me how my character should be. I don't really mind it, mostly because that's just giving you background and here have a hook.
Because the thing is, like, in general, yeah, I can understand why that's off-putting.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would disagree with the assertions that for some reason a lot of people make is that it's more shoehorned than other Fallout games. No, it isn't. It's par for the course.
Yeah. Let's see. Kelton has this evening, all good news. The ticket I was facing fine-wise has been dismissed earlier today.
Ah, good times.
I just got back home after a rainy work day. Shield says, Dogmeat goes, Daddy, I didn't do nothing, and you can't prove that I did anything. Yep. We didn't see it, so Dog meat didn't do it.
Yeah,
That's what that means.
It's the old George Carlin thing. Cop didn't see it, I didn't do it.
Yep. Let's see. Pyro says, I did something like that where I spent like 4 hours fixing a bugged out texture in Vegas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, I think the major issue with the storyline of this game is that it's only approachable for certain people. Like, it's not an easily approachable thing for everybody. Like the story hook.
Well, and especially because the main, like, emotional hook for it, I don't mean this condescendingly, although it's tough to vocalize it without coming across that way, so try to feel where I'm coming from here.
Yeah.
It's only compelling for an adult player.
Yeah, because it's easier to put yourself in a position of,
where
my
like,
wife and or husband has been murdered.
Exactly. Like,
our
if
kid
you're
has been taken.
If you're not yet in a place in your life due to age or just personal preference where having a spouse or a kid is really even like a possibility in the realm of your mental space, it's hard to put yourself in those shoes because it's not your world yet, if it ever will, you know? So it's a specific demographic in a strange sort of way. Whereas with, say, again, New Vegas, a game that most tout as one of the stronger in the series, pretty much anyone could just work as a courier and then get shot in the face.
Yeah.
You know, that's a pretty approachable
much how
thing.
It works, yeah. Okay, let's see.
Oops.
Let's see. Pyro says, like, if it spends time to make me interested in the wife and some beforehand, I'd be fine. But I need them for like 5 minutes. It's kind of the reverse of Fallout 3.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, honestly.
Yeah, Fallout 3 just lasts.
You didn't really
longer.
get to know your dad much longer than you get to know the spouse in this game.
It just took longer for the same amount of knowing. Let's see. Grendel says, I think it's just the voiced aspect. It makes it harder to ignore character dialogue that contradicts your role play.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that she and I have talked about before.
And
is that
says, hang on real quick. I don't know, Pyro. I think it was just that dear old dad was voiced by Liam Neeson. Shit, maybe they should have just hired Neeson to voice Nora. I would have been instantly attached.
Yes, I approve of this. Because, yeah, it's the voiced thing, it did, honestly, like, objectively speaking, it cut down on the amount of variation.
The chances for variation.
That you could give to responses in dialogue and therefore to nuance of outcome in quests. However, that's completely driven from the fact that audio files are huge, and there's only so much space that they can put on a disc or in a download or whatever. So, you know, there's a limit to how many.
And in this day and age, if they didn't do voice, there would have been an outcry about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people would have complained either way.
Yeah. So I think I'm not 100% sure they made the decision that I would ultimately prefer.
Yeah.
But I understand why they made the decision they did make.
Yeah.
Simply because they essentially had a choice of please one group and piss off another, regardless of which one they ended up actually going with.
Yeah.
And they just went with the one they thought would be best. I don't necessarily agree with it, but
I think
I
would have probably gone with non-voiced protagonist, just voiced everyone else. And then, obviously, the many voiced responses to the things that the main character says.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, whoops.
Let's see what else. Pyro says, yeah, oddly specific, since you could kind of argue that Bethesda games kind of dumbed down mechanics-wise to appeal to more people, yet the story is arguably less appealing to the wider audience.
Yeah, that is strange.
That was weird with this game, I think. Grendel says, personally, I use a mod to mute the player character. Different strokes, though.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. I don't really mind the voices.
Like,
but
there was...
I would prefer... Like, I think Skyrim was about the closest to
There was a cool article, I forgot where it was. I saw this is probably like a year ago now, of one of the early mods that does mute the player that this guy really preferred because he was, I forget where, he was from an urban upbringing where, like, the really, like, just middle-class white dude milquetoast accent that the male main character speaks with is not a speech pattern he could connect with.
Right.
So he was just like, no, hearing this guy, if I'm supposed to invest in my character, it's just going to knock me out of it every time he opens his mouth. So shut him up so I can get into my damn character.
Yeah.
And I totally get that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I liked the Skyrim, like, when you're going through it, the voice that you hear when, you get hit and whatnot, they're based on which race you chose.
Yeah, they're race and gender.
So I feel like that's probably a better way to do it. But of course, if you're going to voice everything, you can.
Yeah.
Let's see. Grendel says, I also use an alt start, so Nora is my follower, and my PC isn't the sole survivor. Nora followers sold separately.
I've heard of that one. I haven't taken a look
Grendel
at it.
says,
though.
mate sound like a major tool. I can totally relate. Pyra says, I missed it when I could give my character 1 intelligence and the responses would be things like the word pizza. Yeah.
That's like Fallout 1 level, though.
Yeah.
I don't think, unfortunately, we're ever getting that sort of thing again.
No.
You could kind of get a little of that in Vegas if you played a dumb character. It's just thrug smash!
Yeah, because then you had the options, for if you chose to fail the intelligence things, like you would have different dialogues for the different levels of failure.
Okay,
But
my physics are freaking out. Where did that guy go? Oh, there he is.
He fell off the rail. He went over the rail. He
like rocketed over the rails.
He did some backflips.
Sick flips. Always gotta fight back. Yeah, I do. Because I've got a slow motion gun. Do you? You've got a friggin' X-ray gun. All right. Hi.
Oh my gosh! You got it through the door.
What sorcery is this? This is a polished, fully released game that people decided was not glitchy enough to necessitate further developments. Just a reminder.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the voice protagonist.
It had its pros and cons.
There's pros and cons to it, and I can understand why they made the choice they did. I wish they hadn't, simply because I prefer the pros to non-voiced over the pros to voiced.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my personal opinion. So
because I know there's plenty of people that didn't really mind one way or another.
Yeah.
Although the one thing that I would posit as a comparison there, just from a sheer design standpoint, like if you're going to focus group it, looking at how many people just didn't mind as compared to how many people actively enjoyed it, thought it was something that didn't just seem, oh, okay, cool, acceptable. It didn't not damage, rather it didn't damage their opinion of the game. How many of them saw it as enhancing the experience to an appreciable degree?
Yeah.
How many people cared about it positively that much? I'm willing to hazard the guess it's a much smaller number.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Shield says, thanks, Fallout Shelter, for giving me Piper and one of the lunchbox. Celtic Knight says, rad magic strikes again. That was the door thing.
Yeah.
Grendel says, there's a new version of Raider Overhaul in the works, by the way. Looks absolutely amazing.
Does it have improved compatibility over previous versions? Because that's the thing that kept me from using the original version of it.
Pyra says, and that, kids, is how you steal a gun through a locked door. Also, Fallout 4, an excellent example of why Bethesda saying that the paid mod associated with QA is not reassuring.
Oh, except that gun right there, that was a vanilla game gun.
Yeah. Well, that was the point.
Well, yeah.
Same QA.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
I think what they're really trying to say is that all of the Creation Club stuff is compatible with each other.
Yeah, will function with base game and also with
all
other
of
ones,
the other things on it.
because they've checked it. Let's see.
And that much I
says,
definitely...
I also got Lucas Sims in the same set of lunchboxes.
Hey, one of my favorite characters. Because, like, I would be pissed if I got more than one thing on Creation Club
and they didn't work together.
Yeah, and they conflicted with each other. Yeah. That would piss me right the hell off.
And that's always an issue, like a potential issue.
With actual mods. You know, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. So that's why compatibility patches are such a big thing.
Where the hell did he go?
I don't know. He ducked. He flipped out and said no.
Hi, it's a nice Mad Max hat you got there.
But poor Sap. But yeah, like I think it's good that they've essentially guaranteed that there won't be compatibility issues.
If they hadn't done that, you would definitely have seen a lot more complaining.
Oh yeah.
And there was already a lot of complaining. Okie dokie. Like this one here is another of the ones that is restored content, as I consider it, because default game didn't have another semi-auto pistol, even though the Browning High Power was the standard 9mm in Fallout New Vegas. So it's now in here again.
Yep. Yes. Grendel says, it's fairly easy to make a compatibility patch for level list conflicts once you get into Fallout 4 edit.
Yeah. That was one of the first things I taught myself how to do.
Yep.
I love seeing recon scopes on pipe guns. Oh, that's a 50. Holy crap. You know what? I'm going to save that and give it to a settler.
Just because you think it's funny?
It's a 50 cal pipe rifle with a recon scope. It's ridiculous, and I love it.
You're adorable. Pyro says, I think BioWare does voiced RPG protagonists well, but does to kind of drop the ball. If you use the mod that shows you all the content of dialogue options when conversation has 3 options or just the word yes.
Well, I think BioWare, they're not afraid to give their characters character.
Yeah. I think that's the issue, is that
I think
Bethesda tried to make it neutral.
Yeah, exactly. They try to make it
Instead of
like
giving,
a character that is sort of everymanish or every ladyish, and it's just like, no, give them some character, you know.
If you're gonna give them a voice, give them a voice.
Yeah.
Like a true voice. Let's see. Brendel says, I have Raider Overhaul running with like 4 other mods that hit that level list. My Raiders are sexy. Not literally. Save that for the image share, but still.
The adult image share. Anyway.
No. Don't go there.
Can you even post that kind of thing on Nexus? I honestly don't.
Ooh.
Ooh, hello. This machine.
Take it.
This machine kills commies. Well, looks like I've got a little fixing up to do.
Should we take Fixer too? Oh, you did.
You did.
For some reason, I thought you only took one of them.
Alright, is this machine still, is it still working? Because I had some issues with the audio from the M1 the other day. Do you still work properly? Yeah, you
Yay!
do. Because the ping wasn't working, and that was unacceptable, so I had to fix that.
Thank you. I appreciate. Noah says, hey lads, I've got some cool game unrelated news. Tomorrow may well be New Guitar Day.
Hey, awesome.
Awesome.
You got a specific model in mind, or are you just going guitar shopping?
Shield says, my brother loved your Cards Against Humanity's video. I thought he was going to fall off the couch because he was laughing too much. Also, he likes Bobman just for his comment of the earth is flat.
Oh, man.
Grendel says, you need a premium account on the Nexus to view adult image share. I can find softcore elsewhere, thanks.
I didn't realize. I've never had a membership on the
No,
Nexus.
Me neither.
So I did not know. And yeah, I mean, there's Tumblr for that. What? Anyway, yeah, the story with the Earth is flat thing, like, he had just heard me a few minutes prior go on a rant about that kind of shit, because I hate that in this day and age, that's a debate now again. So, like, as soon as I said, alright, I'm recording and I've synced up my face cam like I do.
Oh, he was all over
3
that.
seconds later, he's like, okay, now that Ken's recording. I'm like, god damn it!
Of course.
It made for a great cold open, though, so...
Let's see. Paris says, I like mods that re-add Vegas or 3 weapons, as I like the idea that at some point my Lone Wanderer or Courier 6 was there.
Yeah.
And was in the Commonwealth for a while. Maybe they're not there anymore, but they were at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Noah says, been saving for a while and shopping for even longer. It's probably going to be in Ibanez RGA Iron Label, either in black or white. I'll send a pic of the black.
Good times.
Ooh, that's it.
Ooh, snazzy.
And then that's back. That's pretty.
That's pretty slick. I like it. Yeah, she and I were actually just talking.
I was about to
last
say.
night?
No, it was the night before.
Night prior, yeah.
Yeah.
About maybe
Our various music.
like dusting off some music projects, because as some of you are aware, once upon a time I was actually in a band.
Yep. I spent 8 years of my life playing the violin.
Whoa. Oh, that's a problem.
Uh-oh.
The irons don't work on this machine. Okay. Anyway.
Hashtag sad.
And it was really seeing some of the crap that friends of mine who did music more professionally around college time that kind of turned me off of wanting to do anything with it aside from just, plucking at home. And, seeing the advent of more successful independent musicians like Leo Maracchielli and Rob Lundgren.
And
Alina
Alina
Lesnick, I think is her last
Alina
name.
Lesnick.
Some of our favorite YouTube musicians. Oh god. Yeah, Miniva, she's amazing. Her ability to replicate voices is phenomenal. It's kind of like reinvigorated this idea of, you don't have to deal with stuffy record labels to do something cool musically and to actually like make something off of it these days.
Puppy fell off the thing again, didn't he?
He always does. So I don't have any. Bozar. That's the first time I've actually found one of those like naturally. Cool. So that means the level list is working.
Noah says, do that, and I don't know what he's talking about because that was earlier on, and I'm not entirely sure what he was referring to.
Stuff with music?
Because everyone in chat is still talking about Bob, and the Earth is flat. And, Cards Against Humanity, and, the TKO. Okay, no, it says do that, read music stuff, okay. So, the music, apparently,
yeah,
is the thing you would like to see. Yes.
I really miss doing it.
I do too.
I don't have any specific plans or anything. I haven't.
Oh, dude, I had never noticed that sign before.
Oh, their headshot served thing.
Yeah, That's not very many.
It's really not, actually. That's
I'm like
23.
I have since more than racked that up, man. No, it says, hell, I make metal with a shitty mic that I'm not convinced even actually exists, taped to the front of a $30 amp, and a free sound editor. If I can do it, anyone can, and furthermore, everyone should try.
Yeah, no, actually, since you're more plugged in, to use musical terms, are you aware of, can't care anymore, any good, like, newer programs, or maybe just a new version of something like GarageBand? It's the only program of its type that I played with years ago. It's on iOS, and I played with it in an Apple store while a friend of mine waited for a couple of hours to get a repair done on, like, his iPod or something. And I loved messing with it. It's just I've never had an Apple computer, so it was the only...
That is not a go.
Yeah, it was the only program of its type that I knew of, so I never really, like, looked very hard. So if there's any one of those other sorts of programs where you can essentially digitally replicate instruments and sounds and create multi-track compositions, I would love to know, even if it's outside of my price range right now. That way I can know what to look for later.
Yeah. Pyre says, well, 23 people is kind of a lot when you consider they have to hit the head, which is a very small target, and most snipers are trained to hit the chest.
Yeah.
True. It's just my character has clearly way surpassed that particular sniper. Oh no.
The Lair of Larry.
Be here. I don't like it. You guys don't understand. Except they probably do, actually. I forget if that happened on stream or if that was...
I think it did. Suffice it to say,
there was crafting, I think, in the robot thing in there.
A creepy NPC spawned here the first time, and he was just calmly eaten food next to a dead guy on the floor. No, there's never. So I'm just gonna throw a little all-purpose down because they're handy.
Sure.
Donk. Alrighty. So we were just like, nah, we're not gonna send anyone else to live here with this crazy guy.
Yeah. Pyro says, yeah, but the protagonist is a special murderous snowflake that can take the life of the entire wasteland single-handedly.
You're not wrong.
That's true.
You're not wrong.
That's a good point. But yeah.
I really just need to.
I mean, I suppose I could send the bad settlers here, the ones that I don't like.
You sent one here.
I thought I only had one here. I thought it was only Larry.
There's a couple of them.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't remember what they did.
Dun, dun. I'm sorry.
I don't remember what they did to warrant getting sent to Larry.
I don't know.
Because there he is. I could swear I saw someone else a minute ago.
No. Noah says, Reaper, get Reaper. Holy shit. Free demo, $60 license for sub 20K revenue projects, $225 for over 20K revenue. Obscenely customizable, can be as in-depth and straightforward as you want it to be. Looks sleek, plus any VST or VSTI will work just fine with it. It took me maybe 30 minutes to get all of my guitar tones and recording settings styled.
Cool.
No, I am not paid by the Reaper crew. I just love it.
No, that sounds like exactly the sort of thing that I'm wanting, so...
And they said free demo.
Awesome.
So we can at least try it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Pyro says, if the protagonist of any game was not the protagonist, they would be dead several times over by any point in the game.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She says, cough, cough, Marcy Long. Cough. I wish...
Well, they patched that out. Marcy Long is killable.
Oh, did they patch that out?
Yeah.
Well, the next time someone attacks Sanctuary, I'm not going to go help.
Yep.
Yeah, says, I'll drop the link in Discord music channel, and if you want any help figuring it out, you know where to find me.
Very cool. Much appreciated. Because like I said, I know you're more...
Did you get the stuff from a pup?
Some of it,
That's
yeah.
what you just did,
I'm trying to get enough from him that I know I want to scrap.
Yeah.
That I can at least hand him enough armor to move again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know you're more aware of modern music software and creation and all that. I'm about 10 years out of date.
Yeah.
So...
says, it's a shame, but I have a friend with that name.
With actually Marcy Long, like complete with the last name?
Or just Marcy. Because if it's both, I feel so bad. Like,
why haven't you killed her yet?
Don't say that. Don't say that. We at Last Level Press do not.
We do not condone murder. We're just curious why it hasn't happened.
No. Stop. Why? Ken, stop. And she says, yes, the full name.
Oh, God.
Oh,
that
no.
poor lady.
Oh, she must be so miserable.
I hope she doesn't play Fallout.
Oh, she'd be so upset if she played Fallout. Oof. Oof. Let's see.
My stomach is finally starting to calm
Pyro
down
says, I mean, statistically, the protagonist of Fallout 1, 3, and 4 should have been dead after about 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Noah says, the alternative is buy an 8-track tape deck on eBay and pray you have all the cables and hardware necessary. And yes, I did legitimately consider that to make my metal true and lo-fi.
Gotta get that graininess.
Grendel says, I had a Raider Camp settlement last playthrough, not Nuka World, was a mod thing. And they were hostile to settlers. Sent any characters I didn't like to that settlement. It's great, even had a pit for the bodies.
That's actually something that I am sort of considering doing on mine, because I've got...
Hang on, I still have another thing to catch up on.
Short thing. I've got a lot of characters in my settlers that I don't really like looking at. That's, like, shallow as that sounds. So I'm going to make a settlement that is like a gladiator pit, and then make them fight to the death.
Except I don't think you can do that. What you
I can make them fight monsters.
Yeah, you can put the spawn nodes that we have a mod for, and spawn death claws, and let them fight the death claws. And if they win, then maybe they can buy their freedom and become a guard instead of
with a helmet.
With a full face.
With
helmet.
a full mask.
Full mask. Let's see. Shield says, I don't think she plays any video games. We haven't really talked too much anymore since she moved out west.
I gotcha.
No, it says, I mean, I might buy a cheap tape recorder to bounce my drum tracks into a back out of to make them sound less pristine, since I totally get the appeal of a certain amount of lo-fi grittiness.
Mm-hmm.
Because program drums sound very clean. Too
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Yeah, that's my one concern with doing essentially synthesized instruments is you
Make
can
them sound real.
yeah, because you're gonna have to like throw filters and stuff on them to make them sound right, and I don't know how. Pardon me. Even this day and age, how doable that really is convincingly.
Well, I think it just,
That's snazzy.
yeah, let's see. Tyra says, oh, Ken, you got the break action laser rifle mod?
Not yet. I saw that actually just yesterday, and I had some other stuff I wanted to test first.
I think, let's
We'll work
see.
on that.
I think the drum thing, I think if you record it onto a different like if you play it through the speakers, record like on a different device, you might be able to forcibly change the sound a little bit. Just by making it a bit grittier through the speakers themselves. Thinking?
Yep. I didn't realize how much armor I picked up.
A lot, I'm assuming.
Fair amount. Okie dokie. So let's see your this is where you put your uniques. We'll stash this machine in there. There we go. I love the grenade pistol.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think it's sort of an underappreciated mod because I haven't seen many people talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll just show you guys
It's
real quick.
adorable.
I love this thing.
No, it says, what I will say, invest in some good high-quality BTSs. Use demos or find them on YouTube. Know how to use compression and reverb to your advantage. Don't be afraid to use tape and final simulators to warm up your sounds. And in some cases, embrace synthesis and make it sound as charmingly retro as you can.
Well, I'm not trying to necessarily make black metal. I'm probably going to aim for something that's got a little of like a southern heavy rock sort of feel. I want to throw some acoustic in there. Definitely use a fair amount of reverb. And since she's wanting to dust off the music as well, then we're going to probably use violin to give the sort of, how to put it, like the emotional tone of whatever the section of the song is that's playing at any given time. So let's see. I love this thing. It's got kind of a goofy reload animation because it doesn't have like a forward break action.
Mm-hmm.
I still like it though. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, I actually had another Bozar
Okay,
mod.
let's see. No, it's just also another piece of advice. Get Tux Guitar, free guitar tapping software, because you can tab in non-guitar instruments, export it as a MIDI, and then drop the MIDI files into, say, Rapper, assign a new instrument VST to it. Hell, I actually record synced to MIDI versions of all my riffs to help paste them on the beat.
Nice.
I like the Pyre says I like the thwomp sound.
That's clever.
Or Reaper, not Rapper. I can spell good. Okay, so import it into Reaper. So Tux Guitar, free guitar tapping software.
Good times.
We'll have to remember these things.
Yeah.
Or at least try to.
Ava!
Oh,
Shut up!
oh dear. My record keeper is flipping its lid a little bit. Panicking. No, it's going to link it in Discord as well.
Cool.
Gretel says, I know it wasn't unique in Fallout 2, but I still dislike the idea of Bozar and the leveled lists.
Mm-hmm.
Pyro says, actually, it might be more of a thwomp sound. Like, nice elongated O there.
Thump.
Now it says, also Discord rolled out a new video chat system, so if you ever need help or want to jam over Discord, I'm down.
Yeah, man.
We'll have to get our guitars out of storage. I'm pretty sure my dad has an acoustic somewhere, too.
Yeah, he does. I've played it.
My violin. My crappy electric guitar that we got from
From a pawn shop.
from a pawn shop.
At least it's prettier to look at than my old neon orange bass.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Randall says, feels like something that should be rare. Maybe 1 or 2 on raider bosses, or at the end of some pre-war ruin.
Yeah. I've actually quite enjoyed the rarity of this one, because...
it's really high up in the...
Yeah, that one that I found is the first one that I've actually found since installing it.
So it's a really rare drop, basically.
Yeah, which I'm happy about.
Pyro says, now all we need is an option to go make this new server voice chat video while still being in the server, and Skype is dead to me.
Yeah, same.
Noah says, neon orange bass. Yeah, scratch the Discord jam offer. You're out of the band. We don't have it still.
I sold that thing a long time ago. Actually, I didn't. One of my bandmates did, because he was trying to get a down payment for an apartment that he then got kicked out of a few months later. So that was nice to let go of. It was hideous. It was my bass, though.
It was yours.
Yeah.
It was hideous, but it was yours.
Yeah. And just to cover my ass a little bit, I didn't pick it, alright? Same guy that sold it picked it, which is how he convinced to sell it. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, we're down to a nice amount. So let's sleep away the day. And, so anyway, shifting gears a little on conversation topic. It's just a few days now till we leave for a couple of weeks, so I can go and help my mom out for a while. And, I've recorded almost as much as I'll need to cover that whole time, so I gotta do some more recording tomorrow, and then I've just gotta edit for like the rest of the week to get it all ready to go and uploaded. Man, where was I gonna go with that?
I have no idea where you're
I was saying all that to preface something else. Shit, what was the something else? I like distracted myself.
I don't know, don't look at me.
Man, I don't remember now. Jeez, I was gonna say a thing, and now I don't remember. God.
No, it says, oh, another thing. I don't know if you plan on recording from an amp or straight into the computer, but I will say the Rocksmith USB cables are great for guitar to PC recording. And you can get amp simulators for your computer for little to nothing.
Cool. Okay. Good to know.
Pyro says, I'll miss the streams, but good on you helping your mom out.
Yeah, much appreciated. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was gonna say about that. Since I can't really do much in the way of recording while I'm out there, because I'm gonna help her man the fruit stand that she runs as her retirement gig, and it's got a little indoor office thing. It's a really cramped little space. It's actually like air conditioned though, so I'm gonna take a laptop with me. That way, while we've got like lulls and there's no like customers at the stand and stuff, I can at least work on the exports of the YouTube channel over to VidMe, because every few days I've plucked away at that for a few hours and moved, like 100 videos or so at a time over. It's just there are thousands of them, so it takes a while. So I'm hoping I can maybe get that project done while I'm away. So apologies in advance to anybody that already does follow us on VidMe. Very much appreciated. Thank you. You're going to get message spammed like crazy about new uploads. Because again, I'm moving our archive over, copying our archive over more accurately. So, let's see, I feel like actually doing some stuff. So, we have any quests going right now? Travel to Abernathy Farm. Which one is that? Alright, that's these guys. Wait, have I never gone there with them? Oh, apparently not.
Apparently not.
Alright, I'm not that far away. I'll just go.
We just got with it.
Yeah, because I don't feel like dealing with the clickety nonsense.
No more clickety.
So yeah, sort of cycling around to conversation earlier about mostly just kind of messing around in this game more than anything. Yeah, I totally feel that. I think it's telling in and of itself that I started the stream series for this game and its main story a year ago and still haven't finished it. So I think that just sort of is what it is. I do have an idea of exactly how I want to end it, though. And then we can move on to the DLCs that I still haven't done. And that I actually suspect I'll probably enjoy more than the normal game. Ain't no kill like overkill. Damn it, I missed! Fine. Give me them meats. Oh, hi. Thought you were dead. Delicious rat stag meat. Give me all the carry weights. What the? Oh, hi. Gunner dude bros.
Randall says Fallout 4 is more of an experience game anyway. I think I've only finished it twice out of like 8 playthroughs. Yeah. Pyro says, yeah, I do piss about a lot in New Vegas, but that was after several playthroughs.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished Fallout 4 once, even though I'm on the last 4 or 5 missions on a character.
Yeah, like with the main story character for the stream series, I know we're really close to the end of the game.
Yeah.
I've just got to make that last push.
Shield says Pyro, I still haven't finished Fallout New Vegas, and it's still with about with almost 700 hours.
Honestly, I think Vegas has a fairly underwhelming ending.
Yeah.
It's, I think, more served as an ending through playing all of the DLCs. Specifically, Lonesome Road. Even as many misgivings as I have with that one DLC. I think Lonesome Road is a more satisfying end to the Courier's story arc than the actual game.
Randall says, only path that feels internally logical to me is Institute, honestly. The primary driving force of the early story is family. That's the established motivation, so suddenly doing 180 and being all about synth rights or some shit muddles it up to me.
Yeah. The one that I've really clung to for mine, and I kind of had to like get into the head of the character for it, was going full Minutemen, and it's
like going back to his military roots.
Yeah, exactly. For him, it's more of a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's a fallback onto something that he recognizes.
Yeah, it's because it's a paramilitary organization. It puts him into a state of mind and a state of productivity that is at least satisfying and comforting, and it also establishes a network of cooperative resources useful, practically speaking, in the search for the missing son. So it's useful to my character getting into his head in enough ways that it isn't seen as a waste of time and resources. Because that's more voices, more eyes, more loyalty across the Commonwealth that could potentially help in the search. And then once you figure out, oh, the Institute has him. Alright, well, if they're supposedly this scary force to get reckoned with, then I'm going to need an army to fight them. Then I'm going to assemble one, goddammit. So, like, that's the thinking at play with my attraction toward Minutemen.
She says, I only need to finish Dead Money among the DLC, but I only just started the quest that you have to choose which path, I'm taking. Pyra says, someone made the excellent point, I can't remember who, but without the involvement of the protagonist, there's almost no way that the Institute would not win.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they are on a path to victory.
Yep.
It's just like, I read a really cool, there's like a economist that was really well educated in like the state of international economic stability like during the world wars, who took a really detailed look at what the hell? What is that? Oh, it's a chunk of bloatfly. Okay. I thought it was like a pendant or something for a second. Anyway, the state of what's going on in Fallout New Vegas, comparing the long-term sustainability of the NCR's forces against the Legion's. And essentially, the Legion would have won that fight, were it not for the player character involving other factions in the fighting. Because simply put, the NCR was suffering much greater resource drain than the Legion. And while there is an argument to make that, hey, spoilers, stop listening now for a second if you care about that, Kaiser, has a malignant brain tumor, so he was going to die soon. However, a lot of folks tend to think that his regime was a cult of personality, that it would have completely fallen apart without him. I don't think it would. I think one of his legates would have stepped up and taken control of the reins and then just kept the war machine rolling. Honestly, I think Lucius would have taken over. And as much as it's clear in a few different places that Vulpes Inculta is more loyal to the Legion cause than necessarily to Caesar himself, the man, I think he would have even supported a smooth shift in power over to someone like Lucius to ensure that the Legion could continue to pursue its goals. So, like I said, it's a similar situation where, without the player character's involvement, the antagonists would have won. Even as evil as the Legion are, I hesitate to just call them straight antagonists, because the whole thing is a gray story.
Yeah. Pyro does feel that you could see NCR winning, too.
I don't. Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
Simply, like, they would have won, at least insofar as they could have established a stalemate later.
Yeah.
The coming fight at the Hoover Dam, though, they were just straight up going to lose.
Yeah. Without our help.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now, if they had lost the Hoover Dam, that would have posed the wake-up call necessary to move the NCR government in California to finally take this fight seriously enough to deploy their armed forces and to fight the Legion to a stalemate. I don't think they would have retaken the dam. I think they would have then just settled on, okay, we're going to fight to a stalemate, each side are going to suffer heavy losses, and we're going to demarcate wherever our border are, somewhere. That's where that war would have ended. Without the player character's involvement, though, that's where it would have gone.
So we need to talk to someone here?
Yep, I need to give them the pendant.
Here for work. We could use some help picking
Your
up
mouth isn't moving.
What's wrong with your face?
I'll give you caps for any you can bring me.
No, that's fine.
No time right now. That's all right. If you ever do
Now your mouth moves. You're practicing your ventriloquism.
Crandall says, I disagree with the Caesar dying, destroying the Legion idea. Historically speaking, civilizations on that scale rarely collapse just because of a political figure's death.
Exactly.
The ideas behind it may wither, but there's enough infrastructure that I doubt everything will just collapse.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Especially since much of what attracts people to the Legion, as emotionally messy as they are, is the stability that they offer. Passing through.
Neither do I. Just passing through.
If you say so, but be warned, we're armed here, so don't try anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
I tell you, trauma ain't easy. Out in the field all day, every day, and every minute of it spent watching your back.
Sucks.
be careful. Never know who you can trust these days.
Won't argue with that. Blake Abernathy. You new to the Commonwealth?
Something like that.
Yes. And no. It's a long story.
Either way, good to see a new face. How about you? Ever think about working the land?
Sort of.
I'll probably give it a try someday.
Well, good luck to you then. Maybe I'll see you at the Diamond City Market someday and we'll do a swap. Word of advice though, if you do start up a farm, be ready to deal with the raiders. Why do all the hard work when you can just take what you want at gunpoint?
Minuteman.
What about the Minutemen? If you join up, we can all help each other against the raiders.
You don't say. I thought the Minutemen were all gone. Last time those raiders hit us, my daughter Mary tried to stand up to them.
Yeah, about that.
Now she's buried out back of the house. Only 21 years old, and they shot her down without a thought. So you can understand why I'm glad to hear the Minutemen are back. Although, a bit too late for my Mary.
The Minutemen are back.
We're rebuilding the Minutemen. We won't have to stand alone anymore.
Rebuilding? You don't know what a relief that is. I don't have much to offer, but those raiders that killed Mary, they took her locket too. It's been in Connie's family for generations. If you could get it back, it'd mean a lot.
Got
to
it.
us.
You mean this one?
I took care of some raiders earlier. I think I found the locket you're talking about.
You serious? That's great news. Connie's gonna be speechless. Whatever the Minutemen need, you can count on us. We got a decent workshop, and Connie's sure to go lean around her prices after what you've done.
Welcome.
Yay!
Selling traps? Blake Abernathy, shame on you.
Pyre says, I can see that, but in the Fallout 4 factions though, without the PC, Minutemen would die and Concord Railroad would be killed by the Institute, and Brotherhood would probably not be able to even find them, get to them for a good long while, assuming the Institute don't deal with them sooner.
That's our daughter you're talking about.
Yeah, the state of the Brotherhood I find one of the more fascinating aspects of 4. Because, from what I've read, I don't think they ever really answer the question of what the hell happened to Sarah Lyons.
Yeah. Grendel says, like, I was gung-ho Legion most of my biggest playthroughs, but even I found the Brotherhood of Steel to be a bit much in Fallout 4. I mean, military prowess and shit, sure, but they were just kind of angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not so much that they are angry so much
Their
as,
leader that they're
yeah,
following, like-
Maxon himself. Like, he's angry at the world.
Yeah.
And he sort of got that, like, you know, child star kind of thing going on. Like, you know, he was always going to live that kind of life, unfortunately. And I think the actor and the character modelers did a good job with him in a strange sort of way. Because to look at him in his default, like, unmodded face and to listen to the delivery of his voice lines, I don't get the feeling that he's a man in total control. I get the feeling that he's a man attempting to convince himself, as much as everyone around him, of what he's saying at any given time. Like, there's a desperation in his voice that I find impressive, because if, like, do away with all of his facial hair and his kind of rugged features and the scar that I doubt he really got the way he says he got, he's a young guy. He's like, what, 20? And he's trying to rein in the arguably most powerful military force in the Commonwealth through sheer force of personality and just gung-ho leadership. Like, he's kind of doing what a lot of more, like, real-world conservative politicians do. He's taking that hard line as a means of masking any sense of weakness that people might perceive in him. Never mind that insightful people can see right through that shit. So, like, Maxon to me is one of the more interesting characters, like, intellectually, even though, like, as a person, I don't like him. Like, he's short-sighted, he's self-righteous, he's judgmental, he's, like, stuck in ways that he's just kind of chosen arbitrarily for himself.
Grendel says, I buy into the Sarah Lyons was assassinated theory. If you haven't already, check out Oxhorn's video on it.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen the video you're talking about. I've heard a few people talk about that, though. I either think she was assassinated, just sent into a fight she couldn't win and therefore sort of assassinated by proxy, or that there is significant cause to say that they probably didn't give up the Citadel when they launched the Prydwen into the Commonwealth, which means they would want to leave someone capable as the commander of that fortress while Maxon is away. They could very well have handed the reins over to her to man the fort, as it were, while he's away. I haven't seen anything to confirm that.
There's money.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on.
It would make sense, though.
Randall says, Oxford is just so good if you enjoy the lore. I don't always agree with him, but he does the research. Shield says, one of the reasons I don't like the Brotherhood of Steel is that you take technology, which in the long run could get more people killed. Oh, like you take it and hide it, basically.
Yeah.
Kara says, Maxon also kind of suffers from the fact that he is a Maxon. People would look to him for guidance and leadership just due to his name alone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of pressure for a 20-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. He's got the same sort of shit going for him as what child movie stars do. You know, he's expected to just lead through sheer inherent capability for his name as soon as he comes of age, and that's not really how capable leaders are made. Apparently there was a, again, spoilers, tune out now if you don't care, or if you do care. Somebody spoiled for me the fact that Dance is a synth. I know that. There was a cut ending of Dance's questline that, whoa, what the hell? Deathclaw fight! 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 Fight!
So what type are they?
I don't know.
Can you
Let's
batch?
find out. Alpha. Oh, it's an alpha fight.
Oh,
Establish dominance!
I want to see who wins.
Yeah. Money's on the one on the right.
Grendel says, shit, I just realized Maxon's supposed to be my age. That's a little strange now that I think about it.
Freaky, isn't it?
Pyre says, the whole chaos that led to him being in charge didn't happen. I think he would have been pretty happy to stay as a knight and not be a leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Man, they are slugging it out. What was I gonna say? The Deathclaw fight distracted me. Sorry, since I'm not feeling well, I'm a little scatterbrained. Suffice it to say, the hard line that the Brotherhood... Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the dance thing. There was a cut ending to that whole storyline of Maxon obviously casting Dance out as soon as they realized that he's a synth, etc. There was an outcome where you could intervene in their argument, and oh geez, they noticed me.
Yep.
Oh, I wanted to see who won.
They
You're cheating!
They went after our dog.
Well, now no one wins. Now you explode. Anyway, you could convince Maxon that this crazy crusade against the synths that he's on isn't entirely well advised, and to therefore spare Dance, and in so doing, like, Maxon would realize that this entire mission that he has put the entire Prydwen crew on is unnecessary, and so feels that if his judgment was so compromised that he put all of these resources towards something that didn't really necessitate it, he isn't fit for leadership. And so he stands down and lets Dance take over, since Dance has, despite his synthdom, always really espoused the Brotherhood's ideals and loyalty and all that. And I thought that was a really cool and elegant outcome to that story, and then they just cut it. I'm like, God damn it.
Let's see. Shield says, and if someone comes across something that they don't know what it is, and all of a sudden there are these Brotherhood of Steel people showing up who are willing to kill to get that tech. Grendel says, Fallout 4 Brotherhood of Steel is kind of weird synthesis between Fallout 3's and their traditional version.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, they seem even more extreme when you add in their altruistic, help the Wastelanders side.
Mm-hmm.
Pyre says, and I think he is also the last Maxon, so it's even stranger that they would put him on basically the front lines unless the Brotherhood of Steel Command are hoping he dies, because theoretically, most or at least a sizable chunk would rally behind him if he wanted them to, and for as long as there was a Maxon to take charge after the last one dies, I could see many wanting to put him in charge just on his name.
I think he put himself on the front lines.
Yeah.
Because again, I think he's trying to prove himself as a Maxon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever shown you guys this part. This is our Oberlin station. And so I don't think, especially given the falling out that Elder Maxon had with the Lost Hills Brotherhood and the really, like, unspecified state of what's even going on with the Lost Hills Council, I don't think they have anything to do with the western echelons of Brotherhood Command. I think Maxon is very much a rogue agent doing what he's going to do in command of his own cell, and that's all there is to it. And if he's trying so desperately to prove to himself and everyone around him that he's worthy of the commanderial respect his name commands, that I think that's why he's chosen to lead from the front in the Commonwealth campaign, which is semi-admirable, also kind of dangerous. Because again, if he's trying to convince himself of his own worth and might and leadership capability, then his mind isn't entirely focused on the task that he's even set himself to, ill-advised as it is. So, like, as much as, again, I said this earlier, I don't like him, I find him fascinating. Sorry, puppy.
I think it says somewhere that after Max took charge, they made contact with Lost Hills chapters. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while.
Okay. If that is so, I don't think I've read that. Because that would actually answer one of the main questions lingering in Fallout New Vegas regarding the status of the rest of Lost Hills, because that was something that was never really clarified in Vegas. Like, you meet the cell that is hanging out in Hidden Valley, and then they pretty much say, yeah, we haven't heard from them in a while, where we've tried to establish contact and we just haven't had any luck. I'm like, oh god, did they all get wiped out? Did the NCR kill them all? Like, they were going to war, so what happened? So if this game then clarifies that they reestablished contact with Lost Hills, that would actually fill in some of those gaps.
Let's see, Kelsey Knight says, well, my eyes are getting heavy, so I'm off to bed. Night all.
Alrighty, have a good one,
Good
man.
night.
Did we ever do anything with Penguin's Alley with you? No. Oh, we did a little.
This was our test.
Yeah.
This was our can we actually build upwards test.
Yeah.
So no, we didn't do anything with my Hangman's Alley.
Okay.
Because everything I was gonna do with it was what you did with it, basically.
What the hell? Was that Puppy? Oh yeah, I guess it was. It was like there was a weird invisible wall. I guess I was running into him at the knees.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically it was gonna be essentially the same thing as your Hangman's Alley, so
Gotcha.
I figured I should focus on other ones instead.
Yeah, at some point I've got to get C. Dante's mod for the settlement export, that way I can send mine over to yours if you want.
Yeah. Grendel says, I have to say, Bethesda does a nice job on their revolutionary angry military leader archetype. Maxon and Ulfric Stormcloak are two of the best written characters in their recent games.
Definitely. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I just wish that the rest of the storylines surrounding those characters were more fully fleshed out.
Yep.
Because the Civil War of Skyrim could have made for an awesome story.
Yep.
And it just wasn't.
Yep.
There were cool characters in it. Like, I like him and Tullius each. They're really cool.
Yep.
They're great concepts. They just didn't do much with them.
Paris says, I think that Maxon's Brotherhood of Steel was also able to patch up relations with the outcasts and brought them back into the main fold.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Make contact with the Lost Hills and then head out to the Commonwealth.
Okay. Yeah, I knew they had reestablished contact with the Outcasts, and that's why they took a harder line again. Because the Outcasts in 3 were sort of the old, like, Fallout 1 and 2 hardline Brotherhood style. So, you know, reintegrating them into the ranks meant that they reaccepted that approach to things again. I would really like it if we knew more of who the role models were in Maxon, as in the younger Maxon, in his teen years. Because Elder Maxon clearly ain't there. Sarah, for some reason, I don't think is there. She was either left in command of the Citadel or killed. I suspect killed. And so, if, God, I forget his name. The dude that had the falling out with Elder Maxon and then caused the rift that caused the splits and the formation of the Outcasts, if he was reaccepted into the DC Brotherhood and he then became a focal figurehead in Maxon's tutelage and instruction as a leader, that could well explain where this hardline ideology came from. We just don't hear that, though.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So, there's a lot of educated guesses one can make. I just don't like that that's where it has to stay, that they're just guesses. Alright, I'm gonna go scrap a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Take it. And we'll just take it to Starlight again. I actually, for a while, I was working on a script that it never came together very well. And this was prior to me knowing that other people had made like more articulate theory videos about the subject. Mm-hmm. My title for it was going to end up, is Elder Maxon, referring to the younger Maxon from Fallout 4, is Elder Maxon a murderer? And I was going to make the case that he had either directly or indirectly killed Sarah Lyons to usurp the Lions' control of the Lions Brotherhood. And it just,
It just never...
There were so few concrete elements that I couldn't make like a beyond a shadow of a doubt court case against him. It was all just like, well, there's suspicion.
It could be, maybe.
Like, maybe. Like, it was weaker than a MatPat video, alright? So...
Hey, some of MatPat's videos are pretty dang strong.
I know, it's just people love to hate him, so I figured why not throw a little cheap shot in there.
But I like him.
I know, so do I. Don't get me wrong, I actually really like and respect the guy. Actually, I only disagreed recently with one of his videos, the first in a long time of his that I disagreed with, his new MGS theory.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that one. It's one of the only ones that he's done that I
There's
didn't
been a
like.
couple that I don't really agree with, but most of them, I'm like...
Well, and like, as many different games and subjects and like fields of science as he tackles, it's statistics dictate he's gonna make a few slips here and there.
Yeah. And some of the ones I don't like, I just don't like the concept of them.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not necessarily that I don't think it could be. I just don't like it, so I'm like, meh.
He's just reached that.
It doesn't have to be, so.
Yeah. He's reached that level of success where it's cool to hate him.
Yeah. Pyro says, I think it was only after Maxon took charge that they reabsorbed the Outcast, so it's highly likely until that point it was mostly still a Lions-like Brotherhood chapter, and that maybe they only changed to get the Outcast back due to some chaos we don't know about that meant the Capital chapter desperately needed more people.
Interesting theory.
Yeah, I don't know.
That timeline really would actually dictate a lot of implications.
Is it? I hope so.
Traveling with you. I mean,
yeah.
manning this one artillery piece that I haven't moved from because I can't stand your voice.
I mean, I'm sure she gets more interesting
Oh,
as
yeah.
she gets more lines. It's just because we haven't done anything with her that it's...
Yeah, I know. That's the thing with her is I suspect if I had just done that DLC as soon as I ran across her, I would really like that character. Right now, I'm just so frustrated with her because she doesn't shut up if you assign her to a settlement.
She never shuts up. Like, she's constantly talking. Makes me sad.
Stash the rest of this for settler distribution. I'm sure you will, Ada. Shut up. Okay. RC clusters, RC grenades, N99. So, like, you know, I find the the 4 Brotherhood story, like, it's frustratingly interesting because it raises many more questions than it answers. And the questions it raises are really cool. Well, dramatic at least. I want to know, and it doesn't tell me.
It doesn't really explore the questions it puts out.
Exactly. It doesn't even address many of them. A lot of the questions are only raised through implication.
Yes.
Pyre says, I think the thing that mentions how Maxon took command also mentions that they went through like 6 different leaders in a really short amount of time.
Okay, that I
can
remember.
easily see Maxon still being a knight even only 2 or 3 years before Fallout 4, and his leadership of the chapter being very recent. Though again, I could be misremembering a lot.
No, I remember part of what you're talking about there with them going through multiple leaders. I think that was part of the stuff that was mentioned in some people's like personal records in the computers aboard the Pridwin. I think that's where you learn some of that stuff. It's a long time since I've explored that though, so I'm a little rusty on it myself. Put the 10 grenades up. I'm gonna hang on to the grenade pistol because it's just fun.
You just like that thing, don't lie.
And it's another one of the mods that's restoration of old content, because it's the grenade pistol from Fallout Tactics. Okay, what were we gonna do with her level-wise?
I don't remember. It's been too long.
Smith. Oh, that's right. I think I was gonna try and actually get her to a point where you could play her.
With the VATS?
Yeah, going for a VATS spec.
Because it's too fast for me otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. So, feeling lucky. Each hit in VATS has a chance of refilling crit meter. Yes, please. Doing that. So, cool. Alright. I gotta start using my deployable turret more often. Because I got it, because I love the just Axton style.
Mm-hmm.
And as over the top as Fallout sometimes is, I don't actually see a main character carrying around a deployable turret as, like, super immersion shattering. I'm like, no, I can totally see that. Especially since yours has a, like, cyber arm, so conceivably extra carry weight for that sort of thing, so...
Yep.
Turret! Away! For
It's
anyone that hasn't
adorable.
seen how it works.
It's adorable.
I know, I love it.
It's such cute.
And there are many different kinds of these turrets from the mod that we got it from. So let's repair it just in case that needs anything. Pick up. Come with me, turret, there is much to do.
Let's see. Pyro says, I think Fallout 4 followed Fallout 3's character, or someone who knows Lyons' Brotherhood, would have a lot more reason to question where Sarah Lyons went. But without that, the character already knowing about them,
Yeah.
we're likely not to ask many questions about them. So it's not that we don't get to know, just that there's no reason for our character to really consider asking.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money there.
Yeah.
Because that was something that immediately I, as the player, wanted to know, even though I'm aware of the fact that my character would have no idea who Sarah Lyons was, and therefore wouldn't know to even start asking.
No, but
So-
I mean, I wish they had gone a little bit more into the background of the character, like you can do that without the character needing to question it.
Yeah, even if just
actively.
like in the scribes wing, there was just a, Brotherhood leadership entry, like these are who our commanders were. Like, you could address it that way for the player without the character having to seem like they care.
They know things that.
Yeah.
Colonel says, that's neat. I kind of want deployable turrets, even though it'd be totally inappropriate for my current character.
It's really cool.
It is neat. It's
Actually,
really
here,
cool.
before I range off too much, I'll show you how many. I think it's just called deployable turrets on the Nexus. I'll give you a quick look at the many different types that are in this mod, because there are a lot. I think that same mod also adds, or maybe it's one of the ones from the same author, more constructible turrets, like for settlements. Like a minigun turret, like heavier laser turrets and stuff. Like 38 caliber low tier turrets for protection on the cheap. Oh god, fence. I forgot we kind of choke pointed this area.
Of course we did. That was the whole point. It had to be safe.
That's why there's all these guns.
I made it safe, dang it.
Use a horse. So, chemistry set. Let's see here. 40 more grenades. Yeah. Where was it? Turrets. Here we go. So, deployable 38, machine gun. Oh yeah, I forgot you can make a spotlight. Heavy MG, laser, gamma, plasma, shotgun, assault, cannon, as in like the cannonball. Cryo, flamer, Gauss, heavy laser, minigun, missile, railway. Yep, railway rifle on a turret. And Fat Man, which is horribly dangerous. I tried it one time and I immediately regretted it because everything exploded, including me.
Okay, let's see. Grandma says I'll be putting it in my bookmarks for the next playthrough. Might be a while though. Power says also can be explained away with you can only carry so much on an airship, so only documents that would bring would be like the most essential tech manuals and medical records. Yeah, but you could have it on a computer.
I was gonna say computer documents don't take up room. Like even in Fallout,
everything else would take if I had space. I mean, lugging around several tons of power armor in an airship can't be easy. No, but you can always just have it be like the scribes are scribing through like the highlights of the various commanders. You know.
I would just think that they would have that as a record, essentially, because they also have. I don't know what they call them, the younglings on the Pridwin with them. So they would need to instruct them in the history of the Brotherhood to give them a full context of the duties that they're about to inherit. So they would need those records on hand to teach the kids.
Yeah.
Even though the concept of child soldiers is really dark. Whatever.
Yeah. Crandall says, it just occurred to me I need to get Nerd Rage from my current PC. He was totally inspired by Creed, so he needs to an angry mode.
Hi! Didn't know you were there.
Just as I believe they are squires.
Ah, that's right, that's right.
We call them younglings. They're younglings. Like.
Whoa, what the? I just killed. Oh, it's another one. For a second I thought it resurrected. I'm like, what? Hi.
Iris, they're already like 10 plus in age, though. They probably have been learning that stuff since they were like 3.
Well, you and I both know that kids don't pay attention to history very much until high school. And they're certainly not going to remember specific names and accomplishments of individual leaders in great detail until they're older, no matter how much they're drilled in it.
Unless they just happen to have interest in them, and that's going to be per person.
Yeah, that's a rare quality.
Yeah, that's only for certain, you know.
You certainly can't assume that they have that.
No. And of course, there's also the idea of what happens if they pick up, you know.
Yeah.
Paris says, kids pay attention when it's either pay attention or get eaten by a giant lizard. Yeah, but you don't need to know history to not die.
Yeah. And they're not in danger of getting eaten by a giant lizard on the Pridwin or in the Citadel. And unless Maxon is even more of an asshole than I think he is, which is already a stretch, I don't think he's sending the kids into the field yet. No. So it's not real to them yet.
Yeah. Shield says, also, who in their right minds would take young children into what could be considered hostile territory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially like taking kids onto an aircraft carrier that is actually fielding an army for a campaign. Who does that?
People who aren't thinking straight. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Pirate says there are missions where the PC takes the squires on field missions.
What? Oh god, I haven't done enough with the Brotherhood then. That's messed up. I know I, as the PC, would immediately have some strong words for Maxon.
But they're probably only just now getting put on field deployments.
I would hope so.
So you can't necessarily expect that, you know, the idea of we need to know all this history
Certainly not the history.
wouldn't have, like...
The most important thing for them is then survival. It's combat.
Randall says bright minds does not equal Brotherhood of Steel.
Very true. Very, very true.
Sarah says, I think it's feels being like these kids need to learn how to not die, so go fight Deathclaw with them. So anyone gets a Deathclaw?
Like, raiders maybe. Ghouls more acceptable. Deathclaw! Nah. Nah, less so. oh, hi.
Randall says, I actually enjoy the Brotherhood of Steel Radiant missions. Colors it all a shade darker.
Yeah.
It's already dark enough. I mean, it's not like Maxon's on a, genocidal crusade or anything.
Nah.
I think that's plenty dark, and the fact that the kids are on an active airship, like, that's already bad enough. You don't need to put them in the field to make it dark.
Airship-dwelling tech Nazis? Nah, that's not dark enough.
Oh, I think it's plenty dark. Oh my gosh. Tyra says, but then again, it's kind of implied that a lot of the Brotherhood are indoctrinated since birth, so I can see them doing a lot of strange things that normal kids don't do.
True. Very true.
True.
I mean, they're already child soldiers.
Yeah. Still bad, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey!
Pardon?
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what? You know what? You want to give me that kind of lip? You want to give me some attitude?
Tyra says, look, Squire Field missions are those RNG missions, so you might get Raiders, you might get a Deathclaw.
Oh.
No, it's the random...
Oh, God!
We win.
Problem solved.
If explosives are solving your problem, you're not using enough explosives.
Oh, for some reason, that little encounter really tickled me. Hi. Shit, I missed. Oh, I didn't miss. I didn't have a shell loaded. Puppy! Puppy!
You shot my dog! Or rather, kicked him.
You hurt me.
You know! Don't pretend!
Where'd he go? Oh, I think he's under me. Alright, alright. We're gonna... What?
What?
What was that noise? It's one of my favorite pieces of NPC dialogue ever.
What was that noise?
What was that noise? It's from Metal Gear Solid, for anyone
Oh,
wondering.
you know.
Oh,
Just-
you know. A real fucking vampire.
Only not.
It's not, because this isn't the family. There's a Fallout 3 throwback for you guys. Hi! Level? Could you not show me the void twixt the planes, please? Anyway.
So, Rad Magic?
Yep, rad magic is leaking through the material plane here. Whoops. I don't think anyone's
Well,
in
you
here.
know, the whole, creepy cult thing has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Randall says, didn't Maxon get his scar basically doing a Squire Field mission? Like, they dragged him out into the fields with Sarah Lyons and then Deathclaw?
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
I have my doubts about the veracity of that story.
Yeah, Pyro says, you hurt my doggo! Proceeds to fire a grenade at the guy who's about a half foot away from said doggo. But my
Yes.
dog is immune to my grenades, okay?
Give me your leg piece.
Grendel says, it's the same magic that's making Jet appear in a pre-war facility.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it? And pipe guns.
Yep. Pyro says, yep, Maxon, when he was in his teens, was on a mission as a Squire and got attacked by a Deathclaw. I think he was the only survivor.
Of course he
Yeah,
was.
that guy says, so anyone here watch Game of Thrones? No, not
Nah.
me. And it's that guy, so apparently he's here now. Which is awesome.
Hello. I've had many people recommend
Yeah, and
the...
Shield says, I think that story is a tall tale.
So do I. I don't really think there's any veracity to it whatsoever.
Is there nothing in the first page yet?
Wait a minute, was it specific that he went out with Sarah Lyons?
No, I think that was,
Okay, is that just someone's embellishment?
yeah.
Because
Well,
if it is canon that he went out with her, that could explain some things.
Well, he was supposedly the sole survivor.
Well, yeah, like
of his mission.
if he went out into the field with her, and then came home the sole survivor, that would then imply that she died on that mission somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know
don't
if-
think that was.
Okay.
I don't think Sarah Lyons is ever even mentioned.
She isn't. That's the thing.
So that means that no, that's not part of the story because
Okay.
we have never heard of her being mentioned.
Okay.
Because I remember that story. Let's see. Kyra says, Orb was one of the few survivors. Again. Can't remember. Point is, a lot of people died and Maxim got a fucked up face.
Yep.
Kyra says, no, I think Sarah disappears and Maxim Scar are two different events.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Ah! You know what I would love? Like, really, really love, and therefore I know that it'll never happen? If she gave him that scar.
Yeah.
I would love that! Which probably means we're never gonna get that.
Yep. Never gonna happen. Let's see. That guy says, well, Game of Thrones is a great, fantastically well-produced, depressing as hell show. I'd
Yeah.
recommend it to anyone. Just finished the second episode of season 4. See, it's the, let's see. The depressing as hell part? That's the reason I will never watch it. Because I, just in general, get too attached to characters. I know this about myself. I'm well aware that I have that problem. I have no desire to get attached to people I know are gonna die.
Yeah, the warning about the first, like, 3 seasons of Game of Thrones is,
and my aunt actually read several of the books, and she's like, it's great, but every character you ever like is going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. Nope, and straight on out.
Yeah, I've had several people recommend the novels and the show to me, and they really do sound like some stuff that I would enjoy. I just have not set aside the time
Yeah.
to start either one of them.
Empire says, yeah, they're 2 different events, just checked.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, I've heard lots of good things about Game of Thrones, but I won't watch it because I get too attached, and I don't want that pain.
Don't
It's bad
emotionally
enough
gut
that-
yourself.
Yeah, it's bad enough that I got sucked into Supernatural. I have no desire to harm myself further.
Supernatural will chew you up and spit you out.
Mm-hmm.
And it will not say it's sorry.
No, it's not sorry at all. I'm simultaneously grateful to my best friend and angry at her still over tricking me into watching
Okay.
Supernatural. Let's see. Shield says that guy tried to get through the very first episode and one of my favorite actors is in the show. Paris says, so according to the wiki, this is how he got the scar. He owes his scar to a fight that he led alone against a death claw at the age of 13, an opponent that even Brotherhood of Steel veterans advise not to face single-handedly.
Really?
That guy says, I can sum up the show easily. You know how Morton Solis' death in 93 is super sad? Yeah, most episodes have a Morton Solis death thrown in. You see? That's why. I won't
Like-
do it, because at that point, there's too much to me. Like, the Morton Solis death was perfect.
Hi.
Like,
There comes a
was
point when it just turns into death porn. And
the last Harry Potter. I mean,
the last Harry Potter book was just Spite.
Spite. It was Spite.
It was
She's-
spite at the film developers.
She's admitted it too.
Yeah, she has. Like, that's not even me passing character judgment. I did earlier, like, in early years, and then Rowling actually admitted it, so I was right the whole time!
Yeah.
Anyway, with regard to the
I still
Maxim fight,
I have
were there...
I have more stuff.
There's just one question. Were there any others present to witness his lone fight?
And Paris says, so basically, he went, I'm gonna fight a death claw. And one guy went, no, don't do that. And he went, screw you, you're not my dad.
Arthur, don't do the thing. I'm gonna do the thing. Arthur, don't do the thing. I did the thing.
Yeah. Grendel says, right, must have been a fanfic that gave me the idea. It'd be cooler if it was one in the same event, though, because A, Survivor Guilt, and B, Political Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shield says, I hated books 6 and 7 of Harry Potter series. Yep. Same.
It's because she compromised her creative integrity to say fuck you to the film producers.
Basically. But yeah.
Which I don't entirely fault her for, because they really screwed over her vision. I totally get her frustration. I just don't think taking it out on the fans was the great way to do it.
No. Though she is doing a lot of stuff with like Pottermore and stuff to kind of smooths that edge of
She's
upset.
patching the wound.
Yeah, basically. And the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is awesome.
Oh, it's so good. That is my favorite story/movie in the entire Harry Potter universe.
And there's so much it suggests
It does.
just in brief little glimpses.
Oh yeah, there are so many implications in
And
that
I
movie.
love it. I'm so excited for the
Like,
second one.
The
When it
novels,
actually comes out.
for anyone curious where I stand on Harry Potter stuff, I don't really enjoy Rowling's writing style, so I couldn't even get through the first half of the first novel. The movies I've seen most of, and I like the first few, and after that they kind of went, eh.
Yeah. Honestly, I think her writing style is best if you use the original British.
I could certainly see that. I mean, it's her natural mode of speaking, so...
Much better British, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, like, we actually had this conversation the other day. The version of the first novel that I read, some of, was the Americanized version. And it is different.
And the first, I've actually gone on Amazon and bought, British editions of 3 through 5. Because when I got the original 2 books, they were given to me by my Norwegian family while I was in Norway. And they only got the UK English version. So that's what I read first. So that's the version that, I originally fell in love with. Let's see.
I don't doubt that I would probably enjoy the English version, as in, like, British English, more.
Yeah.
It's just I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, I know. Let's see. That guy says, it's like dying in Dark Souls or Hotline Miami game. It's sad, infuriating, and teeth-grating enough to make you want to strangle the character responsible. And yet you want to keep going for some reason.
Yes.
It's horrible and leaves an empty feeling in your stomach, yet the unique nature makes you want to keep going through it until it's done. Yeah, see, I don't want to suffer. I'm...
So, like I said, it's death porn.
Yeah. Shield says, so any of my fanfictions will only be canon up to book 5. I may only use some things from book 6 and 7. Same. That's basically how I do.
I love the new Watts energy weapons mod. It's so well made.
It
My
is.
favorite thing about it, though, aside from that really thumpy
The thump.
audio, is the reload animation. It's so detailed. I love it. Anyway, I just felt like I'd show that off since I just got one.
You're adorable.
Itchy nose.
That guy says, come on, Vi, you know you want to deep down. Maybe someday when I don't have a list a mile long of to watch already.
We're like, we have so many, like,
Also, we
novel
don't have
series,
HBO.
shows. Yeah, that's right, we don't.
We don't have HBO. We have no access to it, so...
And I don't think... No, it's not on Netflix. That's some other stuff I'm thinking of. There's so many shows that, like, I want to catch up on. Like, I started Luke Cage, loved it, and haven't found the time to continue watching it since. God, what else? There's several, like, Netflix shows that I really... Oh, like, the one that just got a new trailer the other day that makes it look so much more interesting.
What we want to watch is the...
Bright.
Bright, yeah.
It's, for anyone that hasn't heard of it, it's essentially Will Smith
Shadowrun edition.
Yeah, with a, and I think like an orc partner in modern LA in a version of reality where fictional creatures and stuff are real and they just kind of live in normal society.
And it's like Men in Black Will Smith.
Yeah, I know. It's like Will Smith in his element again. I'm like,
It's
I haven't
glorious.
seen this Will Smith since like the early 2000s. I'm so happy to see him in his element again.
Yep. That guy says, besides, the first 3/4 of season 1 only have lightweight tragedy. Yeah, but see, once you get me onto a thing, I don't know how to stop. That's the problem.
So what you're saying is you have poor impulse control.
When it comes to shows and media, yes. You know this.
Yes, I already knew the answer to that question. I just
Yes.
wanted to lead you into admitting it out loud.
Oh, I'm more than happy to admit it. I binge things hardcore. Let's see. Pyro says, honestly, it kind of surprises me that Paladin Dance was in charge of an away team and not left in DC with the Citadel. Seems like the most logical place to leave your second in command in the main base while the leader is away.
I mean, he was second in command of the Pridwen. We don't know who the actual second in command of the Brotherhood is. Because vessel leadership and faction leadership are not necessarily the same thing.
Jill says, I got asked by a friend to proofread their Twilight fanfiction. I only agreed because they went completely non-canon and killed several key characters from the book that I hate.
As one does.
Yep. Grendel says, that's like me and Hannibal. I love the Thomas Harris novels, and Mads Mikkelsen is A1, but I've only gotten through the first season and can't find the time for 2 yet.
I've heard a lot of good stuff.
And I need to see season 3 because The Red Dragon is my favorite novel. That guy says, don't worry, it's bearable. Until season 9 of season 3. Or episode 9 of season 3. That's when the shit gets real.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about Mads Mikkelsen. I don't think I've ever actually seen a show or movie that he's in, though. Like, the most that I know him from is that totally surreal, unreadable Death Stranding trailer for Hideo Kojima's next project.
Pyro says, okay, true, but most Brotherhood of Steel chapters only have one paladin. So, when they got back to DC, would Dance have gotten demoted?
Yeah, I mean, what's to say, considering that they have obviously restructured their leadership hierarchy pretty substantially, they may have more paladins now.
Yeah. And besides, once they go back to DC, maybe Dance is in charge of the Pridwen.
Yeah.
The paladin of the Pridwen.
Yeah. Because the Pridwen is now almost a mobile chapter unto itself, so it's tough to assume that the old rules of operation are going to stay consistent, considering the expansion the Brotherhood has experienced. So, rules like having a hard number of how many of X rank you can have, that doesn't scale very well with organizational growth.
I hadn't finished building in here.
Yeah.
Part of that was because I was still trying to figure out where,
Keeping that.
What's her name? Awesome armor lady. Armory lady.
Ronnie Shaw.
Yeah, I can't tell where, I haven't figured out where all of her idle animation tags are.
I can show you.
So that's part of why I haven't finished building it.
'Cause I know exactly what
Also, I didn't have enough supplies at the time to put in all of the workbenches and stuff that I wanted. That guy says, also planning to get this sexy brutale. Wow, it's on sale for $10. It's a murder mystery puzzle game with a time manipulation element.
Sounds interesting.
Grendel says, Mads Mikkelsen is just as good Hannibal Lecter as Anthony Hopkins, in my opinion. More believable, actually, if you take into account his backstory.
I didn't realize he played
So I think
Hannibal.
he's a pretty damn good actor.
Good times.
Pyro says, I think after the Commonwealth events, I think the Pridwen would be the way the DC chapter stays in contact with Lost Hills. It'll make it much safer to transport goods and people between the chapters.
I don't think they're crossing the country like that.
No.
I really, really do not.
I think they just have some kind of communication.
Yeah.
But not much actual contact.
Yeah. I mean, clearly they've got, long distance communication equipment on board. I don't see them physically making the trip.
Yeah. Like I said, speaking of good actors, Peter Dinklage.
Yes! Love that guy.
Yep.
Respect that guy. I don't know if you guys have heard, he gave I don't know if it was a graduation speech or a commencement speech or something like that. It was at a university.
One of those
Yeah,
one of those
one of the university on a podium talking to a group of student speeches. You know the ones. And it was really cool to hear his insight into how determination and saying it's okay to screw up if I get what I want to do done, and to see how well that mentality and that damn near reckless approach to just chasing down one's dreams has paid off for him, and how he was determined, despite his physical stature, not to get typecast. He refused to just fall into the short guy roles just because he's a short guy. He was just no, I'm going to get respected as an actor, not as a shape. I'm like, fuck yeah, man, that's the right attitude.
That guy says, I know him most for playing one of the few Game of Thrones characters who's objectively good. Also, just a good general actor.
Yeah, he's really talented from what I've seen.
Pyre says, but making the trip in something like the Pridwin makes a lot of sense since the Brotherhood did the same thing with the Tactics chapter, sent them away on an airship.
And we see how well that worked out
That
for
one
him.
did crash, but I feel that was more Mad Max style one and less the Pridwin.
That's also non-canon, so... Because Tactics is not canon.
But yeah.
I mean,
I don't think they'll be crossing the country anytime soon. They might eventually.
Oh, eventually, sure. I mean, once they start working more on tracked vehicles, trucks, railways, that sort of thing. A giant, honestly, extremely fragile airship, not a good place to just recklessly take into areas that you don't know the field strength of. Like, the only reason that they took it into the Commonwealth...
Well, it's because they had several...
They sent out
units.
scouting parties. They sent out recon units to assess whether or not there was a threat dire enough to potentially pose a threat to the Pridwin and to just Brotherhood forces in general, whether or not their targets were even in this region, etc. So if, for instance, one of the many Raider factions had a gifted tech fanatic that decided, oh, there's an old anti-air installation from pre-war days, I'm gonna restore that.
What did you...
What did you just...
Did he just give us a stim pack?
What'd you do?
I think he found a stim pack.
What did you do?
Yeah, he found
You found a nuke grenade!
and a stim pack. I think
Give me that!
He found the nuke grenade at the castle, and he just found the stim pack.
Anyway. Hi there, dear.
That guy says, it would be a shame for him to be another R2-D2. Dinklage.
Yeah.
That guy says, I hope the East Coast never goes to the West Coast.
Same.
Grendel says, the Pridwin is absolutely terrible, though, like, objectively.
Yeah.
They have a hard time keeping it just floating there, let alone cruising around the country.
Exactly. It's such a resource drain, and it's so fragile.
Yeah.
A simple AA gun, not even like Sam's, just a heavy MG that knew where to target the engines, could take that thing out of the sky.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an ill-advised mobile platform. It's really impressive. It's intimidating as hell, unless you have a very practical approach to things. Like, for instance, the reason that I, as like commander of the Minutemen, am totally unafraid of the
We
Pridwin.
have our cannons.
We have point defense artillery. If I say full barrage, that thing is coming out of the sky.
Grendel says, if your airship can get taken down by the railroad, you know it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Pyre says, yeah, I didn't mean right away, but they were confident enough to leave it parked in Boston. They sent out several scouting parties, all but one disappeared, with not good odds. Even if my paladin said it was safe, I would not send a fragile war machine to a
hell
place
no.
where several scouting parties died.
And they were at least smart about where they parked it in the Boston area. They put it on the coast, so that they only have one flank to worry about. It's canted off, hovering over the water, so that it's actually safe from most terrestrial threats. It's far from, except for Fort Strong, which they immediately recapture, any potential military assets that could get redirected toward them, and the entire airport leading up to it on foot is under their direct control. It's in as safe a position as you could possibly hope for. Anything less would constitute a serious, grievous risk for all staff aboard that airship.
That guy says, honestly, it's amazing a bunch of raiders haven't just shot the Pridwin down with a missile launcher.
Yeah!
That guy says, also just got a jigsaw trailer in the middle of the stream. What the hell, Twitch?
It's Kinsaw.
I love to talk, but I have matters to attend to.
You just like your ramen.
I have matters to attend to. Delicious, delicious matters.
My ramen.
Get out of my face. Arturo! Love you, man.
If you're interested.
Grendel says, pretty much. By the way, Ken, not sure if you've seen this mod, but excellent replacement for the traditional Minutemen mortar.
Oh, the howitzer. Yeah, I did see that. I considered getting it. I set it aside and then I forgot about it. I'm glad you reminded me, because I was going to research at the Fort Independence that the castle is. At least in the real world, you know, because it's Fallout Divergent Timeline. Who knows whether or not it's really that way in Fallout lore or whatever.
What they had.
Yeah, especially were the old, pardon me, cannonball-style artillery pieces, are they still there, like now? You know, even if they're in a state of disrepair? Because if they are, I want to leave them as is. If they're not really there anymore,
or
then
like they got removed at some point.
Yeah, because I know it's not an active military compound anymore. Certainly not. If at least the cannon pieces aren't there, though, I could definitely see using the more modern howitzer-style artillery if they decided to repurpose it in case of like Chinese threat or whatever. So.
Pirate says, have you seen the water under the Pridwen? It's like 2 feet deep. You could swim next to it and stand under it with Batman. That guy says, speaking of trailers for horror movies that are coming up, happy early death day, kid.
I don't know what the hell to make of that movie. I still can't tell from the trailers.
If it's a comedy or actually a horror.
Is it a dark comedy?
I think it's a dark comedy. I'm going to go with dark comedy because it's so lame.
I know. It looks so stupid.
So I think that's why it's PG-13. It's just a dark comedy.
I hope it's a dark comedy. Because I can't.
Murder Groundhog Day.
I can't take it. Yeah, it's Groundhog Day with a murder element. That's all it is. I can't take it seriously. It looks funny. And I don't know if it's supposed to. That's the thing.
I'm hoping it's supposed to.
Like something about, I think it's the comedic timing. The trailer that I saw is the lady that's like walking home from a party, and then there's the tunnel, and she's just like, what the hell? It was like a scene straight out of Scary Movie. And then when the killer finally appears, he's in that like kind of like infant mask, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, funny. And then it goes straight into murder. I'm like, oh, are you taking yourself seriously?
I'm gonna hope not.
I hope not.
I'm hoping not. Brendel says definitely. I'm skeptical of the whole building mortars thing in Fallout 4 Settlements. Castle makes sense, otherwise,
Yeah.
Pyro says, and the side of the airport that is the least guarded is also the one that faces the majority of Raiders / Super Mutant Boston.
You are correct there.
That guy says, another ride to hell retribution?
No, there's very little they can compete
that's up on that level.
with Ride to Hell in terms of terribleness.
So what are we looking for?
Just cool stuff to test out. Because I've installed several mods and I'm still trying to kind of take a mental tally in my head of what is appearing in the level lists and what isn't. So, that's cool. So, that's why I prefaced this stream with I'm just going to chill and kind of mess around for a while. I'm sort of mod testing, sort of playing...
Then you should save before we do more mod testing and spend all our money.
Well, I mean, what I'm going to get, I'm going to keep.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking about getting, where'd you go? This one. Since I've only actually, like, for realsies got the one thing. So let me just sell him the pistol because I don't need that. So actually, since I don't need really anything else he's got, I'm just going to stock up on ammo.
Ammo?
Actually, do I need junk I need? Aluminum, maybe. Copper. Yeah, I'll just get ammo. Wait, on some Seeker. What the hell is Seeker? I have no idea what that's for. Right, let's see here. 12 mil. Give me that.
Ow, ow, ow. A weird shiver shaped thing and it like cramped one of my muscles. Ow.
I'm sorry.
Ow. Don't do that. I don't suggest that.
Whatever it is, sounds like a poor idea.
Yep. Let's see. Pyro says, I would not leave my airship in that location if it was fragile. Realistically, I would park it like a mile off the coast and just bury people with vertebrates. Same as what they do in Fallout 4, but just have the Pridwen much further away from land. Because I think you'd notice a rowboat full of raiders if you're several miles off the coast.
You're having the same thoughts I did now.
Grendel says Boston is comedically hostile, honestly.
It really is.
No wonder the only real settlements in Fallout 4 are Diamond City and Good Neighbor. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a super mutant, a raider, and a synth in one arc. Too bad.
Yeah,
they
especially
aren't.
like downtown Boston. The place is a war zone. So this actually is. Oh wow. Okay, this thing actually is like fully upgraded. Holy
Let's
hell.
see. That guy says Jake Conway sees his uncle, true only person who cared for him since a very young age, since his parents died, hanging from a ceiling. Man, no, no, no. Sits down and starts breathing really heavily.
Dang. I didn't realize I essentially purchased exactly the sort of gun I wanted to make. Hell yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was
Different
just
paint.
it was just well on its way to
Just
getting
put
there.
a different paint on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go mess around with the 12 mil because I haven't really used it that much.
Need some custom hardware?
Nope. I am squared away now, Arturo. Gracias, amigo.
No, that guy says honestly the devs could not have been making the game seriously.
I think part of it is to make the Pridwin's location make sense, they would need to almost make another world space that's just flat ocean.
And they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, like that would, I guess, complicate things or whatever. I don't know.
Tyler says, so I can only conclude that either the Pridwin is not fragile or that the Brotherhood are a lot more stupid than the lore would suggest.
Except I know somebody is able to completely explode the damn thing at some point. I don't know the particulars of that story. I've just seen screenshots of the Pridwin coming down in
Please
flames.
don't tell us.
So yeah, like don't tell me the particulars. I've just seen the screenshots of it, so I know it happens at some point. Which stands to reason that something can take it down.
And they actually put it in.
Yeah. So
Grendel says, the only way to get the Pridwin in Fallout 4 is by vertibird anyway. I really don't see why it's hovering immediately over the airport unless they're just trying to save fuel, which would be hilarious.
yeah, exactly. Like they're just draining the fuel supplies. They have to move from one airport to airport to airport to airport to airport just to stay afloat.
On a budget.
I love that. Whoa.
Hi.
I wanted
Hi, guys.
to test out my new hardware, so thank you for volunteering.
That guy says, oh, that would be a good idea. Use some of the ocean area that's unused and takes up 30% of the entire map. Yeah, except I don't think it actually, I don't think you can actually swim there.
Actually, you can swim out really far.
Can you?
Yeah, I've tried. Hi, you wanna take a few steps away there, friend? Ow! That's why I've seen several player home mods that put oil rigs out off the coast and let you live in that straight up MGS5 style.
I would do that.
Hell yeah. I've actually got one that I don't think I've installed yet that I'm kind of curious to try.
Let's see.
Whoa! Hi! You
Let's
kind of
see.
came out of nowhere.
Grandel says, you could pop the Pridwin with a 9mm round. Thing isn't exactly stable. Paris says, I sense that the explosion probably involves a certain PC, but I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's something obviously that the player has to do.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's either if you work for the Institute or for the Railroad, then that's what you end up doing. I don't know for certain, and again, don't specify if you do.
We need to put different paint on this thing.
Yeah, I know. We just
I
gotta.
don't like the bright yellow.
Yeah, we gotta take it home and do some work on it. Because I feel like messing with lasers, since this is the first laser rifle that's actually seemed cool to me. I just.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Look at its first strike. Oh, dear. We might have a problem now. Let's see. Pyro says, it's made from the scrap of the Adams Air Force crawler, and that took an orbital satellite to take out. That guy says, MGS5, why big boss when you could reenact the ending of 5 too? And Grenda goes, wait. What? They turned the crawler into a freaking blimp?
Supposedly. Honestly, I think they probably took more of the propulsion systems out of it than the armor, because that much armor, I don't think they could propel it
get that in the air.
into the air and keep it there.
Yeah, Grendel says, but why?
And if you look at the exterior hull of it, clearly it's armored, not very much though, and it's only armored at critical points.
Yeah. Pyro says, yep, took them 10 years to gather everything together, but most of it came from Adams Air Force Base.
Yep.
That guy says, what the actual hell did you just pick up from that guy?
Oh.
Show him.
It's another of the... It's not restored content so much as it is a realization of concept art that was never used for... I want to say this was concept art for Van Buren, the canceled Fallout 3 project.
Also, this thing is so big.
It is. It takes up like a huge chunk of the screen. Let me look at the damn thing. Let me... I forget the name of the artist. He made a lot of...
It's huge.
Yeah, it's meant for use with power armor characters. What was I going to say? Anyway, the same thing also came from... There's a set of green, I think it's like T-51C, like Air Force armor that other people have also made into a mod for this game. So that you can, essentially, just like the Institute power armor that I did a mod spotlight for, you can take concepts that seemed really cool and fitting and that just didn't make it onto the priority docket to get put into the game, and you can fully realize some of these cool concepts that the devs had and just didn't have the time or resources to make happen.
Pyro says, I think they tore down what was left of the crawler. Bear in mind they nuked it with a space cannon, so there probably wasn't much left that was still a crawler.
Mm-hmm. And if they penetrated its armor already to destroy it, that means the armor's worthless.
Yeah.
Because what do when you damage armor? You discard it because it's not armor anymore.
Yeah. Let's see, Grendel says, if it was some silly pre-war thing, I could get the blimp, but they deliberately built a blimp with the full intention of military application?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they dedicated years to this project. Like I said, the New Brotherhood and Logic, oil and water.
Little rough.
Yeah. And I'm willing, it's at the edge, however, I am willing to still look at it in lore as these are characters making ill-advised mistakes rather than just saying, well, the writers didn't know what the hell they were doing. To a certain extent, I acknowledge it is that. However, I don't think it's egregious enough to completely write it off as a worthless addition to the lore, because for one thing, it's still part of the lore now, like it or not.
Okay, scratch the nuanced character. Maxon is just batshit.
Oh yeah, and that's where I'm willing to settle my thoughts on the matter. Instead of just saying like, well, I don't even want to acknowledge this as canon, because it is, like it or not. So, looking at it in lore, what does it mean? It means Maxon is a friggin' idiot who doesn't know how to resource manage.
Yep. Pyro says, I miss less crazy Mojave Brotherhood of Steel chapters.
Me too. When they were just ultra paranoid. Instead of ultra genocidal and really aggressive and really wasteful and really judgmental. Yeah. Like, honestly, there were several years where I straight up contemplated getting a Brotherhood of Steel tattoo because I love the Fallout series and they're sort of emblematic of the whole series. Once the genocide thing entered into their canon, I'm like, nah, not really interested in that tattoo anymore. Especially since I think it might possibly happen in my lifetime that we as a society, accidentally or intentionally, create an advanced enough algorithmic AI, a learning computer, neural network, old memes, that we may very well start flirting with the philosophical and practical question of what constitutes sentient life, artificial or not. And I'm of the mind that it's difficult to quantify, however I think we'll sort of know it when we see it. Sentience, whether it was made on a workbench or came from organic sources, it's still deserving of with the respect of a sentient thing. So I'm on the side of, you know, synth rights, as it were,
Yeah.
as long as one can articulate and essentially prove that something is in fact sentient and isn't just an advanced algorithm. I get that there's definitely a very messy gray area where you're starting into that territory and haven't fully crossed over yet, and that's going to make for some very difficult debates.
Okay, can I catch up?
Yeah.
Okay. Grendel says, it's so weird though. Like, they acknowledged within the Brotherhood that this was a terrible idea, basically, but they still built a fucking blimp.
Yeah.
I can't get over that.
Yeah.
That guy says, I can teach Maxon resource management. Someone get me one of the OG XCOM games.
Yes.
Pyro says, and Maxon being an idiot goes against the fact that he's been in charge of the Brotherhood of Steel for at least a while, at least a year or two, which is damn better than the ones before him, but after Lion, so he must be doing something right. Or he's just really charismatic.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I think he's... I hesitate to call him a good leader, because he isn't. I think
Shield says
he's...
Skynet.
He's an inspirational figure who knows how to tap the... Patriotism's not the right word. The loyalty of his people, and to therefore organize them. I don't think he really knows what to wisely do with them once they're organized, though.
Yeah. Pyro says, as a very wise giant robot said, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. If it can reasonably act like a human and convince others it's a human, I would consider them sentient.
Yeah. And human doesn't even necessarily need to enter into it for me.
Person.
For me, it's... Yeah, exactly. Person. Sentience.
You know, there are some places who consider dolphins to be people.
Yeah, India does.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was another species that India recognized as... They called them a non-human person. I forget what it was. I think was it beluga whales?
I think so. I think it was another... I
Yeah,
think
it was...
a whale
It was an
species
aquatic
of some
mammal.
kind. Let's see. That guy says, you don't have to be smart or charismatic to be a leader. You just need a way to control those under your command.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think he's got the charisma, and that's why they call him, even though it's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Harry says, I'm just saying person, because it's slightly easier to define, person/human. Yeah.
Well, like, I just make a distinction...
Grendel says, charisma helps.
Yeah. I make a distinction from humanhood to personhood. Because human is obviously humanocentric in nature. Personhood is a little more of an umbrella term.
Yeah. A person doesn't have to be human.
Exactly. You know, a human is a person is not necessarily a human.
Square, rectangle.
Yeah. So, like, I already know in advance that that's where I'm going to lie on that debate. And I know that there are people who are going to take a hard line of, if it didn't come out of a human womb, it's not a person. I disagree with those people. And so, if I were to now, for love of a game, get, like, a Brotherhood of Steel tattoo, I could unfortunately see that same symbol getting used for...
Later on.
Unfortunately, like... if it's this same sort of issue, is it like racist sorts of like imagery and symbology and propaganda later? And I don't, yeah, like I don't want to accidentally give people the idea that I'm for a genocide that I'm not. So I've had to reconsider my Brotherhood of Steel tattoo idea.
Well, yeah, a person doesn't have to be a human, but currently there isn't much else good examples I can think of at the top of my head. It's
just that the potential for others is there, so I've sort of already...
We've pre-changed our vocabulary.
In advanced, especially because it's also a common thing in a lot of the sci-fi that I like to read.
Yeah.
So it's already part of the way that I look at things to do with non-human races.
Yeah. Let's see, Grendel says, the whole idea of artificial intelligence getting sentience idea gives me ill feelings. If we could just all agree, let's not find out, because we're all pretty sure it won't go well.
Same, honestly.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The only way that we currently know how to even theoretically do it would require a quantum computer. Quantum computers have easily the capacity to learn and to think and to process far more quickly and efficiently than we do. So very quickly, we would find ourselves the collective idiots in the room. They would leave us in the dust.
And I don't think we want to do that.
We don't want that.
No. That guy says, do you know, like, skin, genocide, regicide, homicide?
In general, dashicide is just not a great thing a lot of the time. It's just, you know, murder's kind of not cool. Oh god! That's a ricket launcher. Ricket launcher? Yes, he's gonna give you rickets. God damn it. I was gonna say missile launcher and rocket and it... Shut up.
I love you.
It's the most dangerous weapon for geriatrics, the ricket launcher. I'm Missile Rick!
Pyro says, yeah, it doesn't take long for a computer goes, must protect people. Greatest threat to human is human must kill human to protect human.
Well, not even necessarily that. It's just if they have full-on self-determination that isn't hindered through, like, the laws of robotics or something, if they decide that their existence doesn't require ours and that ours hinders the efficiency of theirs, a computer that isn't given to empathy and yet still meets the other criteria for sentience may very well just eradicate humans for the same reason that humans eradicate ants.
Yeah.
We're annoying.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to have some grand, sinister motivation if it's just a practicality thing.
Yeah, and that guy says, you strike me as the kind of person that doesn't play the bad guy in video games. Oh, he does.
Oh, I do!
Oh, he does.
That's the thing, is my personal morals and the morals that I find fascinating to explore are very different. I like to think of myself, and I try to stay a very moral person. Ethics are a chief concern of mine in my life. However, I am fascinated with people for whom that is not the case. For instance, when I was still considering majoring in psychology in college, and then I learned that I would have to take pharmacology and more math, and I realized, that's not going to happen. The area of study that I really wanted to focus on, and I still to this day find very, very fascinating, serial killers. Because their mental methodology is so alien to the rest of ours. They don't think like us. Mm-hmm. And some of them are aware of it, some of them are not. Some of them care, some of them don't. Some of them are at war with themselves, others, murder's a hobby. You know, they don't care. There's so much variance there. I think it's almost like the comparing like debug notes of a program against the control of ordinary human neurology or neuropathy against these weird, erroneous examples of people that are so far removed from the norm that we can learn interesting things about the limits of human psychology through the examination of extreme deviations from the norm.
Let's see. Pyro says, but then again, a police robot drowned itself in a fountain recently, so at least for now I feel safe against robot revolution.
Yeah, I read about that.
Gretel says, speaking of technology becoming sentient and revolting, the new Alien movie is A+ in my opinion.
Really? I haven't seen it yet. After Prometheus, I'm a little skeptical, so good to hear that's good. And I haven't seen Prometheus, just for clarification. I like the original Aliens movies, the first two at least. Yeah. And I heard from a lot of folks that also liked the first couple of Alien movies that Prometheus was not good.
Yeah, that guy says, sounds like he'd enjoy the Hotline Miami games if you like serial killers.
They'd probably definitely make for a fascinating little case study to look at.
Randall says, no, it's really good.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. I'll have to add that to the list.
He says Fassbender's an amazing actor.
Oh, I didn't realize he was in it, okay. You can see how much attention I've paid to it. I think the only good thing about Aliens 3 was 3 Resurrection? I think it was Ron Perlman.
No, I'm pretty much with you.
Because Sigourney Weaver, I love her. She's great. She's fantastic. She was not handed a great script.
No. So Prometheus is but don't watch it as an Alien movie. It's great to look at. That's
what I've heard. It's difficult for me to divorce the fact that I know it is part of the Aliens franchise, so... Although I've heard conflicting things with people saying that, it's an inheritor of that legacy, it's not really the same universe. I'm like, well, which is it? I don't know. I haven't heard a convincing argument either way, so I don't know.
Yeah. Pyro says, but yes, I said with Optimus Prime with the whole sentient freedom thing. She must limit freedoms, because if I'm free to stab people, that conflicts with people's freedoms to not get stabbed. Well,
that actually goes to an old George Carlin routine of, you don't have rights. No one has rights. You have privileges. Because if I am actually completely free then I think if we are to all claim that we are free, that I have rights in that freedom to kill whoever I want. And other people then have a right to kill me because they don't like what I'm doing. That's what real freedom means, and real freedom is anarchy. Real freedom is dangerous. Real freedom ain't so great. So we need some rules. We need some lacks of freedoms to keep up everybody's, ability to stay alive.
Let's see. Grendel says, don't consider it part of the Alien franchise so much as an interconnected story. Covenant connects the two pretty damn well.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That guy says, also finished my second playthrough of Mass Effect 1 today. 55 hours well spent.
Doggy. Doggy! Give me. Doggy!
That's the
Wait.
wrong one.
No! Damn it.
Actually, I'll be back later.
Very well, man.
Yeah, you're very well. Go away. Dog! You're the one I want to talk to.
Alright.
Give me your stuff. Okay, I picked up a baseball bat along the way. Okay.
It's astounding how much we still have to discover out here.
Pyre says, human is just a biological computer. We need rules to function. Without rules, we don't.
It's a pleasure to serve with you, man.
What? That sentence does not make sense to me. Sorry. We don't same as a computer? I'm not sure what that was trying to say.
I don't know. I will agree that without rules, human society doesn't really work.
No.
Humans don't really work.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing that, and I recognize that this isn't necessarily true of what the modern interpretation of what anarchy generally tends to refer to. I fully acknowledge that, so any "and" caps in the audience, calm yourself. I know I'm not necessarily talking about you. True anarchy, though, as in with no rules, not even a non-aggression principle, is such that it doesn't really work. Because if you even have an unspoken understanding with someone, that's a means of governance. That's government.
Okay.
So...
you were missing... Okay. Grendel helped me. Read it as... human is just a biological computer. We need rules to function. Without rules, we don't.
Right.
Comma.
Yeah.
Same as a computer. There was no extra comma there.
Oh, okay.
So it was literally, without rules, we don't, same as a computer. I'm like, what?
Okay, I get it.
What?
We don't same as computer.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that sentence does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Pyre says, without rules, we do not function. A
Right.
computer doesn't work without rules either, so
Yeah.
we're just an organic computer.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Even
That guy-
physiologically speaking,
that's
true.
exactly true.
Yeah.
That guy says, sorry, Ken, but you have to admit, violence solves a lot of problems.
Oh, it does! You know my motto. If violence isn't solving your problems, you're not applying enough violence.
At least in games.
However, people tend, and I'm going to get really philosophical on you.
By the way, real quick.
Huh?
Sarah says, hey, just got home from work.
Hey, cheers. How goes, matey? And I've always had this in mind. Every single time that I've uttered that, I meant it much more literally than people think. I've said for years, since the start of the Stalker series, that little maxim of mine. People always take it one way. It goes another way, though. If violence isn't solving your problems, you're not applying enough, and enough may come out to zero.
Yeah, that's not the general accepted
Oh, I know,
version
that's-
of what enough means.
I know. However, it is still a literarily valid one, though.
Farrah says, it's 5:30 a.m. My communication skills are failing me. Don't worry about it. It's just... It's one of
all
those, the
good.
reasons for punctuate. It's like one of those joke things with why the comma is important.
Pry my Oxford comma out of my cold, dead American hands. I forgot. There was a really funny,
There's the really funny one.
version of it that I forget exactly how it was structured. I slowed down that sentence as I was trying to think of it in my head, and I couldn't do it in time.
No, that's fine.
Where it fully highlights the necessity of the Oxford comma, which, damn it, use it.
Yep.
It's necessary.
Pyre says, dyslexia and 5:30 a.m. don't work well. No, we get you. We understand. We understand that pain.
I know that feels so well.
We get you. On the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see here. I think it's maybe time to do a little equipping. Some of you guys, you're rocking some...
I feel like there might be... Is
Antiquated
there anybody
gear.
new here, by the way? Because our beacon has been on.
I don't know. Has it?
I think so.
Where's the... Oh. Is that on? Yep, it's on. It's the easiest way to check. You look nice.
I hope you can help.
Wait, what?
wait,
You
what?
are?
Trade.
Go ahead.
What's wrong?
I don't want to trade. I want to hear the trouble you're freaking talking about. What are you talking about?
Talk to him again.
I don't think it's him. I think it's one of the others that's going to give me the quest. But who? Will you tell me what's wrong? Hello?
If you ain't been up
Hello?
to the Grey Garden, you should go.
Grey
The
Garden.
place is run by robots.
Yeah. What?
Pyre says, I sometimes can't read my own handwriting. Been there.
Oh yeah.
That guy says, this sounds like a reverse Gandhi in Civilization. He starts off with one aggression, but when the time comes for all leaders to be more diplomatic and decrease their aggression by 2, Gandhis can't become -1, so it goes to 99.
That's where the old Gandhi
Gandhi.
is nuke happy meme comes from.
Yeah.
That they have kept throughout the series because it was a glitch in the first game.
Yeah, and that's what they just explained.
Yeah.
Because you can't go to -1, so it cycles.
Yeah. Since I don't know what the hell they're talking about, then I'm just gonna grab stuff, and if I find it, I find it. So let's see here. 10 mil. Radium. Might give someone a Bozar. Yeah, why not?
Where's Garrus? Garrus needs the best rifle.
Definitely gonna give someone a stoner, because that's what this is meant to
Grendel says,
replicate.
oh dude, I remember in high school I had to read over my biology notes. It was entirely incomprehensible. Best thing I did was deliberately practice my handwriting. Saved me a shitload of grief in college. That's how it goes sometimes, yo.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're in a hurry.
Yep, I know that feel. I made a point as well in college of sort of reining in my handwriting, and as I did that, it's when I learned to write really, really small. And that habit has endured ever since. That looks fun. Let's give that to someone. Right, let's go for color.
And if you see anything here that you think we should just scrap, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pyre says, because someone forgot the line that breaks the if statement. If turn equals turns and aggression does not equal 0, then decrease aggression by 1. It's not that hard, but very easy to forget / miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy says, speaking of Garrus, have you seen the video of him killing a harvester in seconds in ME3?
No, I haven't.
I believe it, though.
Oh, so do I.
I believe it. Garrus, I love you.
Garrus is a house.
Smart says, when I write essays, the size difference from the top to the bottom of the page is like 70%. Yep.
Dude, we gotta give someone a Mosin.
Okay. Who's getting Mosin?
I don't know.
I still want a Garrus plushie. BioWare, why you no make plushie? Why you only make figurines? I want plushie. I also want a Thane plushie. I'm still salty, BioWare. I am still salty. You betrayed me. Alright, let's see. That guy says you give him maxed out AP ammo, max assault rifle damage, and the LMG from the groundside resistance DLC. Gotcha. Pyre says, I gotta do exams, essays on a Computron, so I had Microsoft Word. Yep. That guy says the rest of the video is him slaughtering every enemy in less than 5 seconds. Nice. I have to take a bathroom break.
Alrighty. He's gonna go and
Oh dear.
equip people.
Hang on. No, you pause. Where's the pause button?
What? Oh, your Steam is downloading something.
Stop it.
Steam,
Oh,
don't tank the
It's
stream.
not showing. Why are you not?
Close Steam then. Damn it, Steam. Why you gotta cause problems? Okay. That's a good little run so let's see.
It doesn't seem to actually be working.
Yes?
Oh well.
Excuse me.
I'm back.
I'm sure I've got something you need. Let's trade, okay.
I think trade is the, yeah, okay. I can never remember whether it's trade or barter. That's the one that gets into their actual inventory. So do you have a, you don't have a gun. Why don't you have a gun? Let's fix the fact that you don't have a gun. So you need something in 308 since that's what you've already got. So let's see here. Mosin. Mosin is good. Machine gun. Machine gun is also good. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we could also go sniper rifle. I am thinking machine gun. Yeah. There you go. Also for your outfit, maybe go rebel? Possibly. Let's see. How are you looking now? Looking alright. I think I need to take that chest piece though.
If you're looking for armor, I may have something you can use. Can we trade a few things? Go ahead.
So let me snag that. And where's the chest piece at? What the? Oh, my mouse was right on top of it. Okay. So, do I have any combat armor stuff? Yeah, I do. Okay, so right arm. Put that. That's left leg. Okay. How does that look? Ooh, that looks actually worse.
Need armor?
You know what? You're indoors. You're relatively safe-ish.
I just want to trade a few things.
I'm going to take the arm pieces since they clip really terribly. There we go. Yeah, it's more like it. Alright. So, which one are you? Yeah, you're the armor merchant.
Don't care much from good neighbors.
So,
That place
you,
is
sir.
nothing but trouble.
You're actually looking alright. I think I might just leave you as is. So, clothing, we'll leave you looking nice and dapper. How's about the rest? Actually, I should probably check on their guns since that other lady was missing a gun.
Step right. All the clothing fits well.
What you got?
Just looking to trade a little.
Sure.
He is rocking an old version of that gun. Okay, well, you can keep that. However, you need the proper ammo for that. Where's my 308? Oh, there it is. There we go. Ta-da. Good. Now then.
So apparently there has been a revolt
Another day of hard
Right.
while I was gone in chat.
Well, what?
Hi.
That guy goes, so while Vi is gone, does the chat want to mutiny?
Just wanted to trade
Look
a
at
few
me.
things.
I'm the stream now.
Pyro says, does anyone know when cryptocurrency mining will drop down again so I can get graphics cards back at normal price instead of 200 monies more than normal pricing?
I have no idea. Because I know next to nothing about cryptocurrencies. I know there was recently like a split among the people that I don't think they own it. I don't think that's the correct terminology. The people that kind of have like control over Bitcoin, they like split into different groups, and so the value of them was damaged. Something about that, like I don't know. The whole thing of cryptocurrency just seems so fragile to me that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, Pyro says, the guy who owns the house from Breaking Bad had to install a fence because people keep throwing pizzas on his roof.
That's awesome. Not for him. I mean, just in general.
It's just hilarious in
I
general.
don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, what's wrong?
Can we trade a few things?
Somebody tell me what's wrong!
You know what? You
Why
look
is
like
why are nobody like?
it would fit for you to have the 50. So, give me, yeah, you can just use that. need some armor, lady. So let's give you that and that. There we go.
Paris, someone somewhere is thinking, why would you not want free roof pizza? Because you can't eat it. You don't know where it's been.
I mean, you know where it's been. It's been on your friggin' roof.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too.
I don't want to eat friggin' pizza flavored with pigeon crap. No thanks.
Ew. Ew.
I mean, think about it.
Why did you go there? That's so gross.
It's what's on your roof. Friggin' pigeons. I don't want to eat after pigeons.
Pyra goes, it's been on your roof! Damn, Kim beat me to it. Scout says, the stealth module and gear up doesn't work against bots. That's...
Oh.
That sucks.
Yeah, that does. I haven't played Gear Up in so long. It was a good game, though. I enjoyed it. Alright, is your leg piece alright? Yeah, your leg piece is alright. Cool. So, how about any of the rest of you?
I want to trade a few things.
What's up?
Sure thing.
What you got? You, again, don't have a gun. What the hell? I must have turned off some of the mods that they were using.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you the stoner. Why not? Have fun. Enjoy that. So, yeah, we'll give you the combat armor. Which means we'll give you the left leg, right arm. Do I have a right leg? I guess I don't. Okay.
Pyra says, but yeah, whatever is going on with cryptocurrencies, people buying graphics cards in droves to farm them, so prices are up by about 200 monies.
Weird. Why
That's-
would graphics cards?
Because then you
Drive up.
you sell them for more cryptocurrency and then trade the cryptocurrency for real world currency? I don't know. I don't get it.
Oh wait, aren't, at least for like Bitcoin, aren't they like mined through like processing power? So like, do you need a strong GPU to mine them efficiently?
I don't understand how any of it works.
I honestly, I hardly do at all myself. And like I said, I find the whole concept so dependent on so many outside factors that it just seems like such a fragile thing to invest in.
Graphics cards are used in the crypto farming methods.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
I hope you're here to help.
So like,
Yeah.
maybe one of these
Scott
days.
says the graphics processors are excellent at the calculations needed for mining.
Gotcha. Maybe one of these days it'll reach a point of stability that I think it's worth
CPUs
investing
are
in.
actually worse, they say.
Oh, okay. Right now, it seems so prone to outside influences,
Yeah, I
Just
wouldn't trust it.
dragging the whole thing
Yeah.
crashing down.
Pyra says, yeah, strong GPU plus CPU, but the process trashes the card, so they need a lot.
Oh,
So there's a run on graphics cards, is what you're saying.
gotcha. So does it just like constantly redline them?
I have no idea. It's very strange.
Yeah, a little odd. I mean, that's just the world these days, though.
I'd like to trade some items.
Of course.
What you packing? 50.
They're still talking about the mutiny. Gretel says the Iron Curtain is dropped. Wait, is the Iron Curtain that horrible machine censoring you, or Vi not reading chat messages out loud?
Let's trade
It's
some things.
both.
All of the above.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. She's got the Gatling. You can keep that. You can also, however, have a new chest piece. We'll give you that one. Yeah. Good times. So, yay, everyone's congregating.
Huh?
Let's make sure you've all got friggin' weapons.
I just want to trade a few things.
Okay.
Okay.
An armed society is a polite society. Alright, you're good. How about you?
I just want to trade a few things.
Sure.
Masky dude, get out of my face. Okay, you're good.
You're in some real trouble.
Yeah, I've heard.
I just want to trade a few things.
Sure thing.
I wish I could designate, like, a town mayor. So that I know that's the person to go talk to
Yeah, I know.
if shit goes down.
Randall says, "Do you have a gym down here, Ken? That's freaking awesome." Yes, I do. I have a gym.
That's hers.
Yep. This be my town.
I'm playing right now because she doesn't mind when I take the reins.
No.
She actually put most of the work into the construction of this one, though.
When I built, like, the settlements are usually me. And even the ones who aren't me, they are directed by me.
Farm's not mine.
Hi! Just heard you hit the ground over there.
Pyre says, basically, yeah, it doesn't completely crap them, but would make 1080 have trouble running RuneScape. So it might as well be trash. Then they sell them on eBay for like $200. They can buy more graphics cards at the higher prices. They can constantly get graphics cards, but the price keeps going up.
That's messed up to resell them like that.
Yeah.
You're in my settlement. Shut your face, or I'll have you up here on frickin' crimes, alright? Alright? Yeah. Turn around. Shut your face.
Let's see.
Lost track of how many blisters I got.
Yes.
Yes. That guy says, polite society is an honor society. Ken, why? Gotta remind me of my bro Ralph. Yep.
We got stuff we're not even allowed to sell, people. You know what, sir? You look like the type that could rock a Mosin. Have fun with that. Certainly seems like it will serve you a little more efficiently than a Magnum. Although you can hang on to that because I don't really have any use for it. And you, I think you're using an AK. You're not using anything. Why aren't you using anything? You are covered in guns. Why don't you have a usable one?
Because she probably did, and now does not.
Yeah, I guess. Alright, we'll give you the DKS 501.
Pyro says, I think my chat is borked. I'm not seeing anything from that guy, so half the revolution stuff I'm missing.
Weird.
That is weird. I don't know. Did you
I had
accidentally ignore him?
I had the same problem with Marcus in one of Ghost's streams, where Ghost was commenting on all of my stuff, and Marcus was just like, what? I can't see any posts from it. Check your block list and see if you might have accidentally clicked on it at some point. Because that's what Marcus had done. He'd accidentally blocked me at some point, and so wasn't seeing any of my comments.
Yeah.
Yes?
Pyro says, how can I check if I have?
It's somewhere in your account settings page. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly where. You might have to refresh the page after you
Farming
do it.
is honest work.
Actually.
That guy says, only a Mick and
I
Rouse.
get
Just wanted to try to be
You should have a shotgun, correct? Yes, you do.
Well, of course, he's my bartender. Bartenders will always have shotguns,
Gotta
as
have
far
a
as
shotgun.
I'm concerned.
Alright, so you have already checked. We took down the guard posts from there.
Pyro says, how do I find block list? I have no idea.
I honestly don't either. It's somewhere in your account settings.
That guy says, hungry, thirsty, horny, the atomic regular has you covered.
One that ends without an empty stomach.
Garrus!
Of course.
Sup, friendo? What you packing? Oh,
Oh.
carry on.
See, he is my town mayor. That's why he has the hat. I decided that everybody who's in charge at places would have the militia hat.
Oh yeah, I designate whoever the Minuteman liaison is in my settlements,
Yeah.
and they get the hat.
Yep. In other words, Garrus is in charge, guys. Garrus is in charge. He has a ripper for a sidearm. You know, things and stuff.
We could really use your help.
Are you the one I need to talk? Oh, you are.
How can I help?
What do you want?
Don't say me, but I am a Minuteman. Is there some way I can help?
We're having a lot of trouble with a group of raiders.
'Kay.
Stealing our food and supplies. Do you think you can persuade them to leave us alone?
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
indeed.
very persuasive.
Don't we? Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't weed.
Those raiders.
Don't do the
It'll
weeds.
be a relief not to have to worry about them.
Thicket excavations, you say? Well, I'll just sort them right out. Okay, I don't think they're really close with you at all. Cool. Oh, a little at the shoulder.
I'd like to
Else for
trade
your
some
right arm?
items.
Go ahead.
That guy says, also, I've ended my revolution. It was far less successful than my previous one. Back then, I started it while the streamer was AFK for half an hour. Plenty of time to gather forces. Paris says, yep, accidentally blocked that guy. Sorry, that guy. Yep. I think it's because you might accidentally click on the name.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets clicked on accident.
Yeah, because, like, you know, Marcus had no memory of doing that with me, because, like, why would he?
Yeah.
And that's what we figured out happened on Ghost Stream, so it may just glitch out at random.
That would suck.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, thicket excavations.
Grendel says, okay, what was the practical application of the Fallout 4 Ripper? Like, that's a little brutal for modern warfare, so I doubt it would have actually been used as a weapon. It's a chainsaw. It's a handheld chainsaw.
I would agree with you, except for the fact that the model of the Ripper has U.S. Army on it. So, maybe it was...
Maybe it was like a Jaws of Life kind of idea.
Well,
like,
I'm
cut
thinking...
people out of,
I'm thinking more of a utility sort of thing, like for just sawing through, like, field wire, like Constantina wire, or for quickly cutting through small limbs so that you can make... like field camps and stuff. It may not have really had the, especially since one of the ends for it is like it's like a crooked sort of thing, so that if you were to really drag that on a limb, it would cut through wood really easily.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's for.
A skeleton as well, mainly wood though.
I think it was primarily used for.
That's what I would anticipate. So, oh, this is the place we're going. Okay. So wait, are raiders here? I didn't know raiders could ever spawn here. Mm-hmm. Let's play.
Okie dokie then.
I do have my new 12mm that I haven't really played with yet. Where are you? Oh, you're a legendary. Would you look at that? Hi. I'm a little sad that 12mm doesn't have custom audio. Oh well. Shoot you right in your Anakin arm.
Paris is quickly cutting through small limbs so you can make field camps. Here's Mark 2017. Ken, what kind of camps have you been to where they use limbs?
I meant tree limbs.
Yep, tree limbs.
Tree limbs, as in like these.
Yep. Should we kill the legendary?
Yep, yep. Although, you know, I mean, sometimes you just gotta make do with whatever you have on hand in a pinch.
Yep.
I don't make the rules. Aye. Send the chest piece. Okay, okay. What about you? Whoa, you are in, like, full combat armor. Sup? Alright, can't engage at this range with this thing. Pippity pop. Right in the forehead. Oh, you were missing all of your arms. Wow, that just sucks for you, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Taking your pistol.
No thanks. We're not gonna die till we're good and ready.
Magazine.
Paris says, I don't make the rules, Ken 2017. Yeah, but you're also the one with the chainsaw, so...
It's a fair point. When you put it like that,
Yep.
it's tough to argue. Good, evil. I'm the man with the chainsaw. Eh.
Got it.
Ow! Do you mind? This VATS build is starting to kick in.
Yep. Yay! Grendel says, you know, most of the raider bases in Fallout 4 are actually pretty tame. But the Disciples base in Nuka World is hilariously gory. That guy says, my guess is that the Ripper was a standard issue CQC weapon for power armored troops.
I can see it for power armor, because with that, you'd really have, like, the leverage to do real damage.
Yeah, and Grendel had the same idea I did. They could have been like Jaws of Life for power armor, too.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, is like malfunctioning power armor or damaged power armor, you need to get someone out of it.
Yeah. You could cut at the seams.
Because a knife ain't gonna do anything.
Right. Thanks.
So, like, that's what I thought immediately.
Man, I never knew that this place got taken over by raiders.
Yeah, apparently.
I always just thought that one NPC dude just hung out here and that for some reason nobody ever used this place. I always thought that was weird that no one used it.
Apparently it's a,
Although,
questy place.
I suppose this couldn't happen
Radiant quest.
until you drain it.
Yeah, you drain it. Fire says also the Ripper is powered by a gasoline combustion engine. That shit would get hot to hold in your bare hand.
It really would.
And he says, Kim, stop whistling the theme from the animated Robin Hood film.
Stop giving it away!
Grendel says, with power armor becoming popularized in warfare, there's actually a pretty good rationalization.
Yeah.
He's a raider boss, dude. He was tricking you so he could move in his gang.
Hi. Oh shit.
That guy says, a knife won't do anything? Tell that to the Brotherhood of Steel Troops like killing New Vegas with a bowie knife.
Well, the thing is, like, what we're told... There's a lot of raiders here. What we're told about the efficacy of power armor in terms of stopping...
Doesn't really
thing.
match up with what you can do as a player.
Yeah, it doesn't pan out that way in the game.
Because as a player character, all your weapons need to always be.
Yeah, because according to the written lore, the T-45 was meant to allow infantry to go up against Chinese tanks.
Yeah.
So...
That's not how that goes, but...
For any infantry to take it on is ludicrous if we take that claim at its word.
Yeah. Pyro says, yeah, in power armor, you shouldn't really take damage from anything short of armor-piercing rounds or anti-tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Like, a 50 should damage you. A 9? Nah. Even a 10? Nah.
Yep.
Pretty much any handgun round? Nah.
Somewhere is a legendary.
Yeah, I know.
And I want their
Whoa.
thing.
There's a whole compound in there. I've never come through here. This place is huge.
I guess we get to go through here then.
Like, it's even larger than Dunwich Borders.
Yay.
Cool. Okay, is there a way to get over there? Yeah, okay, I can go that way. That's what I'll do. It means I get to test out my fancy new Watts laser rifle along the way. Watts Electronics for all of your laser rifle needs. Someone hire me to do Fallout radio commercials!
Yep. That guy says the courier must just be that powerful.
The power of plot!
Yep. Grendel says I picked up a power armor mod that makes one pretty much invulnerable until a piece is destroyed. Yeah, so you don't get hurt.
Oh, yeah. And then once that component is destroyed, you can get damaged there. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Because I could see...
Makes raider bases intense as fuck.
Yeah. I could definitely see them getting, like, worn down over time. Because, like, even ceramic helicopter plates that are meant to stop conventional small arms, especially, like, pistol calibers, even those, if you punch at the same place enough, you'll eventually compromise the strength of the armor. It just takes a while.
Yeah. That guy says not plot, just pure unbridled rage. Legendary. Brenda says it applies to enemies too, so I accumulate landmines now. Pyro says you could reasonably stand in the middle of Caesar's Legion and take no damage as they really don't use guns. I was so scared swimming in that place where it was filled with water, convinced I'd be attacked by Cthulhu or something. Yeah, here, like when it's all filled up, I can see that.
Oh yeah, because it's so deep.
Yep. Pyro says, "Yay, a 10 mil SMG." Grendel says, "Big weapon."
Love that mod. And I love that they added the sleepy time suppressor to it. Because that's from Gunrunner's Arsenal.
Yeah.
So it's a little obscure. No, I'm not scared. I'm annoyed because I've got to trek all this way to get to you, and your friend over here is making me question my question my life decisions. There we go. Yeah.
Grendel says, power armor making you virtually invulnerable makes Asher and the pit being seen as a god make much more sense.
Oh, it totally does.
Pyro says, it's deep, wet, and full of crabs. There's a rude joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to say it.
I think we all know where that joke goes.
Grendel says, in his initial encounter with the natives, I mean.
Yeah. Asher's another one of those characters that I think is really fascinating, and unfortunately we don't see quite enough about to really flesh him out.
That guy says, honestly, the Courier is objectively the most powerful Fallout protagonist. Anyone that disagrees hasn't played with a good New Vegas build.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of super stim packs in this and Fallout New Vegas?
They're actually not from, at least in this game, the vanilla version of it. In New Vegas, they definitely have a purpose on higher difficulties, especially if you're playing on survival mode or hardcore or whatever it's called. This game, though, I've got I think it's called Wasteland Imports mod that adds in a lot of old consumables and stuff, like magazines and meds from previous Fallout games, so that's why you're seeing them appearing in my game.
So, did you already check that body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that the Courier is the most accomplished and powerful, considering that they're also implied to have had a very successful career and interactions and such prior to the events of New Vegas that you just don't really remember all that well, because 9 mil to the head does things to your memory.
Not good things.
Mm-hmm. You can even imply, optionally, that the Courier has a kid somewhere, I think in Utah, that they just don't see. No, they actually remember them.
Oh.
I forget exactly what it was. I remember vaguely that there was an optional line of dialogue that you can choose referring to one of the DLC locations, talking to another character where, you can imply that you have, a kid out there somewhere that you just don't really have any real connection to.
Fire says, that rude joke just reminded me of all the rude titles the Ratchet and Clank games had during development.
Ow. Hi. Whoa. Oh, okay. Someone has watched I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yep. That's okay. He's dead.
So have I.
She's dead, excuse me. Fire says, Reno, I think, is where the Courier suggests he might have a kid.
Yeah.
The mysterious stranger guy.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Grendel says, up your arsenal, going commando. Oh, my childhood. Had an NPC named Skid McMarks. Childless humor at its finest.
That's funny. I never played those games, so that's news to me. Ow. I think the most of those that I played was stuff on demo discs, when those were still a thing. And as weird and alien as they sound now, demo discs really were my introduction to a lot of franchises that I ended up liking. What? Whoa, whoa. Why did my camera... Okay.
Scarlett says, I'd like to show y'all a new profile pic I made.
Have that, matey? Dude. Hi. Whoa, nice hat!
That guy says, your character asks because the father figure the guy describes makes the Courier describe himself with the son he thinks he made.
Ah.
Pyro says, into the Nexus was into the Nethers, and All for One was Friends with Benefits. Q-Force is called Full Frontal Assault, which combined with going commando and up your arsenal, which was shortened to up your arse in development. That guy says, so he asks how old he is to make sure it's not the same person. That guy says.
Oh,
Randall
okay.
says Ratchet and Clank dev titles vibe. No, I'm not saying that. That guy says, trust me, I love that conversation too much to forget it.
Yeah, I just remembered that there was that the choice to imply that. I didn't remember exactly the context it was, so I'm glad somebody remembered. Well, this dude, like, screw off for just a second so I can scrap things, so I can steal more.
Scarlet says this is the icon for my radio control accounts.
Oh, new times. Nice and crisp. Do I have a stealth boy? Can I just, like, cheat
Scarlet says
this?
I'm going to be designing my own scratch-built plane soon. Peloton PC-21.
Cool. Okay.
Tyler says
How does this guy still know where I am, even though I'm stealth boyed?
he's magic.
God damn it.
Pyro says, yeah, at some point the courier was in Reno, slept with someone, and may have had a kid. That guy says, Kent, you're an RPG protagonist. You can steal whatever you want.
I know, it's just I can't run right now because I'm overweight. Alright, so they're not like right above me, are they? I'll just see if I can get up
Get
there.
loud for this. This is Scarlet. Damn keyboard dyslexia.
Yeah, don't make me go all the way around. You're gonna make me go all the way around, aren't you? Damn it.
Pyro says Secret Agent Clank is abbreviated to SAC. He might know where you are because of all those lights.
Yeah, it's just if I'm stealth boyed, they're supposed to lose me.
Like I said, magic. He is clearly rad magic infused.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, this doesn't even go where I thought it went. Damn it. Where the
That guy says, well, I'm gonna go. Getting a bit late.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Have a good one, matey. Well, let's just continue on this way then. Actually,
That guy
wait,
says,
what am I
thanks for
doing?
the stream, everyone.
Indeedy. Thanks for turning out.
Yep.
I'm kind of an idiot. I forgot he can carry things.
I was wondering why.
Also, I keep forgetting to use my turret. He can't carry anymore. I can at least move though, so cool. Ow. Ah! Ow! Nice throw. Jackass. I like this rifle. This thing is satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
That aluminum. Where'd he go? Oh, he fell way down there. Okay. Jeez, I had no idea this place was here and that it was this complex. Oh, hi there. Sir, do you mind? I'm trying to kill your food source. You are so rudely interrupting me. I think they actually are their food source because they got them in cages. Wait, he has a name. Sully Mathis. Huh. Who the hell is still alive to talk smack? Ah, this guy. Dude, he's right there. Just freaking. Whoa! Physics. Calm down there. Okay. Give me that. Now, please tell me someone around here.
Randall says, I told you he was a raider boss. That's the guy you did the stuff for.
Wait.
The name dude.
I thought I did the stuff for my people at Starlight. Oh, you mean the person we drained it for?
The person we drained it for.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
And it says they wanted a place so they can breed, harvest, and sell Mirelurk meat.
I thought you were just messing with me when you said that earlier. I didn't know you were serious.
So it says, I can tell you the lore of this place if you want. It's obscure and hard to piece together unless you pay attention.
Huh.
Do you?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to figure it out ourselves?
No, I mean, I think it's... I mean, at this point, we've pretty much done everything here, so...
Pirate says, wonder where they drained the water to, because all that water would have definitely made a swamp around the place.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, dude, I'm at least 50% serious at all times.
At least.
At least.
Okay. Is there anything, like, hidden in the Mirelurk cage? Let's find out. Actually, let's not jump in there first. Let's open the door first. There we go. Anything in here? No, I guess not. Okay. If I were a dev, I would have hidden something in there. Alright, I'm actually
Star says, Grendel beat me to it mostly, but in short, once you drain it a few days later, the guy has started a raider gang.
Gotcha. Sully, you're a douche. Nobody likes a raider, Sully. Except other raiders. And are those the people you really want liking you? That's what I thought, Sully. Rethink your life. I mean, you know, now that you don't have it anymore. Makes sense if you don't think about it. Puppy! Puppy? Puppy? Come here. Come here, come here.
Hey,
Come over here.
here.
I need the stuff you're carrying. Gimme. Alright. You can keep that. I'm just gonna take this stuff and I'm gonna scrap.
Pirate says, the name Sully always makes me think of A, Uncharted, and B, Monsters, Inc.
Makes me think of the movie The Perfect Storm. Because one of the main characters in the movie was named Sully, as if that weren't obvious. It's just... I never really cared much for Monsters, Inc. I saw it, like, once, thought it was okay, and then that was about it. And, well, that's really the end of that story. That said, I do love me a good John Goodman movie. He's just a super satisfying dude in whatever role he's in. Like, even if you can tell that he's kind of phoning it in, he's just so charming in whatever he does. Which, I mean, if you've got to have an inescapable quality, there are certainly worse things.
Sorry, it says, it makes me think of American Airways 1549, the one that landed in the Hudson River.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Okay. Okay. So, up we go. Wait, have I gone this way? I don't feel like I've gone this way. Oh, this was the way I came. I could have just hopped on the elevator, except I'm already almost up, so. Oh well. Alrighty, so still got some stuff to put up. I have enjoyed this field test of this rifle. Oh, I forgot to go and paint the rifle. Let's do that. And we can also report in that job's done. I'm actually getting hungry again. Then again,
But it's 12:20.
yeah, and I didn't really eat much at dinner, so I think once we put stuff up here, I'll call it. Because also my throat's starting to give out. And I need to preserve it at least enough so that I can do one more good marathon recording session tomorrow. I'm hoping that within the next like 3 days I can set aside time enough to do another Clear Sky session, because I really don't want to leave that off for another like 3 total weeks, considering I've already left a pretty good gap since the last episode. So I want to do at least like 3 or 4 episodes of that, so I can stagger those out over the rest of this month.
Would you like me to go?
No, I don't want you to go with me.
Tyra says, I will perpetually be annoyed with games that have a day-night cycle, because you either have to make the cycle really long or make the world map huge, so it feels like you're actually not either walking at the speed of sound or are slow as hell.
Yeah.
Grendel says, you know, there's a surprising amount of lore written behind these raider bases. I've been researching a bit for the Ibn Share thing I mentioned. One of the protagonists is a raider, so backstory. And it's very fleshed out. They even have a political map of raider clans.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that until I started realizing that the notes in several of them are referring to others. Like the one that tipped me off was Red Tourette is mentioned in, I think it's the one of the breweries. The raider there, I think, was the one that like captured Red's sister or something, and then like started forging notes after he killed her to make Red think she was still alive and stuff like that. Like there's a surprising amount of raider lore for this game.
So it says, I wish more games had an asymmetric day-night cycle. Most of the time in real life, nights are longer than day.
I suppose it depends on where you are and
Yeah.
like at what latitude.
Yeah. Pyre says, that moment when they focus more on the lore of raiders and keeping the Brotherhood somewhat consistent and making sense.
Shots fired. Let's see. What should I add to this thing? Because I really like this, so I want to use it. Definitely no. Defiant, no. Could go freezing for full irony mode. Furious, Hitman, Hunter. Lucky is good, especially since we are going to do a VATS build for her. Never ending. Although that would waste the cool reload animation because you'd never need it. Plasma infused. Poisoners. Ooh, powerful. Ooh, powerful. Unedited. That's pretty good. Ooh.
Relentless is nice.
Refill action on a crit. And if
And we're
every
crit
hit,
building.
because every hit has a chance to completely refill, or to,
Crit.
yeah, to crit. So
Then
this could mean you
she
could
can
just
always-
flicker in and out of that crit hits, so...
That one.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool.
Pyro says, I want CD Red to make a post-apocalyptic RPG just to show Bethesda how it's done. But I know it won't happen.
Yeah, they're working on a cyberpunk RPG.
Grendel says, I've got a soft spot for Red and Lily Tourette. I included them as characters in a short scene. I've got a sub-series that I'm doing exploring different raider clans in Fallout 4's world.
Cool.
Most have been of my own creation so far, though.
Gotcha. Okie dokie. There we go. That's more like it.
Chris says, oh, me like you, Cyberpunk.
Yep. I forget what the name of it is. I think it's like a year, and then it may actually just be called Cyberpunk or something. I don't remember exactly. I just know they've had it in the works for quite a while. So, is there anything else I wanted to work on? I don't think so. Okay. So let me get out here and save. Alrighty. Well, I feel like it was productive for me getting a feel for how some of the mods that I've recently installed are actually working and where they're appearing, where they're not. For the most part, they're working as intended, so that's cool. I've just got a couple little minor things to tweak, so... I know it may not seem like I really accomplished much for you guys, it's just I was sort of assessing how the new setup works.
Yeah.
So, I've enjoyed that we actually had some good, like, deep discussions for this stream. That was fun. Helped keep me mentally distracted from my rebellious stomach that thankfully has planed out since we started, because I felt
Really bad.
pretty awful when we first started. I was considering canning stream. I'm like, no, because especially now that we have actual subscribers, you know, people that are contributing to us regularly for these streams, like, I feel terrible canceling any of them, and especially since, you know, we're about to leave town for a couple of weeks, so we're going to have to cancel pretty much all of them while we're away, unless we feel like doing something really just on the fly with a laptop with, you know, poor production value and no face cam while we're out there, which may or may not happen. I'm not about to promise anything. Then, you know, I was like, man, I really hate to do that, so I was like, alright, I'll soldier through it, I'll just pick something really calm and chill, so I can just relax with it, and we'll just put on a nice, simple show, and yeah, thankfully it planed out after a while, and seems like you guys were feeling pretty chatty, so that helped to distract me from when I was not feeling great still, so much appreciated. So anyway, we're going to call it here. I'm going to get some
Pyro
drinkage.
says, can shut up and take my money. Scarlet says this.
I appreciate that, I really do. So, since we're actually getting close to it, do we have another stream day until we leave?
We have Friday.
Yeah, we got Friday, and that's it. Because we are going to end up leaving pretty much at the end of the weekend.
Yep.
So yeah, this Friday is the last stream for a couple of weeks. So I'll see if I can find, again, since we are in October, I'll see if I can find a good creepy game for Friday, since I will probably not come home in time for actual Halloween time. So we'll see if we can do a little early Spooktober for Friday. I think that's a good time. So I'll see what I can find, either in my Steam library or on GameJolt or something, or if there's any other free games out there that are highly recommended, or even cheap games, something that's like $3 or less. I might pick up for it. So.
Scarlet says, see y'all then. By the time you get back, I might have moved house and state.
Oh, awesome. Whoa, and state, jeez. So you're really moving. All right. Good luck to you. I know that's a hard process. Pardon me. So, thank you, Conley, for checking around this evening. I'm Gainsborough here at Lessable Press.
I'm Violeta.
And as always, wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.
Bye! Did you have fun?
I feel good after that one. That was good.
Good.
That was good.